and weapon charges. Police are continuing to search for suspects in the shooting. A man drowns at Georgia State Park while racing a friend near a beach area. Divers with Newton County Emergency Management recovered the man's body in 15 feet of water at Hard Labor Creek State Park. Witnesses say that the man was racing a friend when he started to struggle. Now, several bystanders did try to swim out and rescue him, but they could not reach him. The victim identified as 35-year-old Device Blount. Update this noon on a 12-year-old girl who was fighting for her life after being hit by a fallen tree over the weekend in Paulding County. She is now off the ventilator and breathing on her own. This happened at the Paulding Meadows Arts and Crafts Festival on Saturday, shortly after the storms and strong winds passed through the area. Captain Steve Mapes with Paulding County Sheriff telling us.
She's very, very lucky. This is an act of God that a tree limb would come down.
And she suffered a fractured skull, bruised lung, broken rib, and lost a lot of blood after she was hit by that tree branch. Again, she is off the ventilator and breathing on her own. President Trump says that America was founded on faith, and when it's strong, good things happen for the country.
Under the Trump administration, we're defending our rights and restoring our identity as a nation under God. We are one nation under God, and we always will be.
Now, he talked on religious liberty at the Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C. earlier today. The president said that his administration is defending religious rights and restoring the nation's identity as one nation under God. He announced the Department of Education will issue guidance aimed at protecting the right to pray in schools. The Trump administration is filing an emergency appeal at the Supreme Court, asking the justices there to allow it to withhold billions of dollars in foreign aid spending. Stephen Portnoy following that from Washington.
The case questions whether the president can withhold funds in the final weeks of a fiscal year, even if Congress doesn't hold a vote on it. The concept is known as a pocket rescission, and it's a novel theory that's never been tested in court. A federal judge ruled against the administration last week, but now the White House is asking the Supreme Court to sign off on the idea. The administration aims to hold back about $5 billion in foreign aid spending that Congress already approved, which Trump aides consider wasteful.
And American support for capitalism is reaching a record low. According to a new Gallup poll, 54% of respondents say that they have a positive image of capitalism, and it marks a 6-point decline from 2021 when the question was last asked. Now, findings show over the past 4 years, Democrats and independents have driven a decline in the public perception of capitalism. This survey also asked about public perception when it comes to socialism, and that saw a 39% support overall. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow's up 53 at 45,454. NASDAQ is also up here in your lunch hour, so is the S&P. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center with a look at your roads.
Found the reason for the slow zone in Duluth, Sabrina. It is a travel advisory. Crash was in 4 left lanes. Now they're holding 2 left lanes. 85 southbound past Pleasant Hill Road, exit number 104. You're stacked up back towards Duluth Highway. You can use Satellite Boulevard or Buford Highway as your alternates. Elsewhere, jump into the northwest part of town. We are still watching the right lane construction. 75 southbound getting past Chastain Road, exit 271. You're slow from Wade Green Road. Make sure you stay in those left lanes coming out of Ackworth into Kennesaw. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Time now for Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta.
A mix of sun and clouds and breezy today. The northeast wind gusting 20 miles per hour, pulling in that cool, dry air. Today's high is 81. That's trending about 5 degrees below average for this afternoon. Lows tonight falling into the upper 50s, low 60s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 83. Sunshine on Wednesday, high 84. Staying sunny and dry through the rest of this week. Thursday and Friday's highs in the upper 80s to low 90s.
72 degrees in Alpharetta. It is 71 in Lithia Springs. Here in Midtown Atlanta, we have 73 degrees in sunshine. More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K a day bonus blitz. The noon keyword is fancy.
Oh, you fancy, huh? Oh, you fancy, huh? Oh, you fancy, huh? Oh, you fancy, huh?
FANCY, fancy. Enter the keyword fancy into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword and win $1,000. The keyword is fancy, FANCY. Don't forget, if you get a phone call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. It could be us telling you you won $1,000. The keyword is fancy. Good luck.
Greetings,
Conversationalists, it's Eric Erickson. We've got breaking news out of the gate here on the program. The Supreme Court has just ruled 6-3. The Trump administration may continue its ICE raids in Los Angeles. There's been a lawsuit filed out there that was ordered ICE to pause raids. And the Supreme Court has just said 6-3 that while the case is pending appeal to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, the ICE agents can continue to do their raids. This should not surprise anyone, and yet the left is melting down. There is a dissent, of course, from the three progressives on the court. Notwithstanding that, Justice Kavanaugh wrote a concurrence. I vote to grant the government's application for the interim stay pending appeal. Immigration and Nationality Act authorizes immigration agents to interrogate any alien or person believed to be an alien as to his right to be or in the United States. Immigration officers may briefly detain an individual for questioning. They have a reasonable suspicion based on specific articulable facts that the person being questioned is an alien illegally in the United States. The government estimates there are at least 15 million people in the United States illegally, many millions illegally entered or illegally overstayed just in the past few years. Illegal immigration is especially pronounced in Los Angeles, according to, among other locales in the United States. About 10% of the people in L.A. are illegally in the United States, meaning about 2 million illegal immigrants in Los Angeles. Not surprisingly, given those extraordinary numbers, U.S. immigration officers have prioritized immigration enforcement in the L.A. area. The government sometimes makes brief investigative stops to check the immigration status of those who gather in locations where people are hired for day jobs, who work or appear to work in jobs such as construction, landscaping, agriculture, or car washes that often do not require paperwork and are therefore attractive to illegal immigrants. Immigration stops based on reasonable suspicion of illegal presence have been an important component of immigration enforcement for decades. In this case, the district court enjoined U.S. immigration officers from making investigative stops in the L.A. area when the stops are based on the following factors or combination of factors: presence at particular locations such as bus stops, car washes, day labor or pickup sites, agriculture sites, and the like, the type of work one does, speaking Spanish or speaking English with an accent, and apparent race or ethnicity. The government contends that the injunction will substantially hamper efforts to enforce immigration. To obtain a stay from this court, the moving party must demonstrate a fair prospect that if the district court's decision were affirmed, this court should grant cert and reverse. The moving party must also show a likelihood it would suffer irreparable harm if the stay was not granted. In my view, the government has made a sufficient showing to obtain stay pending appeal. Now, I want to go down to the bottom of Kavanaugh's decision here. And again, I was a lawyer, did constitutional law. I'm speeding through this because it literally hit as I was coming on air. So I'm digesting it with you, but I know how to read these cases. So let me get to this. The balance of harms and equities favor the government here, especially in an immigration case like this one. It is also important to stress the proper role of the judiciary. The judiciary does not set immigration policy or decide enforcement priorities. It should come as no surprise that some administrations may be more laissez-faire in enforcement and other administrations more strict. Article 3 judges may have views on which policy approach is better or fairer, but judges are not appointed to make the policy calls. In sum, the government has demonstrated a fair prospect of success on the merits and has met the other factors for an interim stay. I therefore support the application. And he adds, consistency and neutrality are hallmarks of good judging, and in my view, we abide by those enduring judicial values in this case by granting the stay. In other words, what Kavanaugh is saying in his concurrence is he doesn't believe the local judges are acting in good faith. That now he's using legalese to say it, but how do I know that Justice Kavanaugh is suggesting the judges are not operating in good faith? Well, I read it to you. You might have sailed past it with me. He didn't use a lot of legalese in it. So let's go back to where they are. He said the government estimates 15 million illegals, 2 million in LA. The government sometimes makes brief investigative stops to check the immigration status of those who gather in locations where people are hired for day jobs, who work or appear to work in jobs such as construction, landscaping, agriculture, and car washes that often do not require paperwork and are therefore attractive to illegal immigrants, and those who do not speak much, if any, English. If the officers learn the individuals they stopped is an American citizen or otherwise lawful, they promptly let the individual go. If the individual is illegally in the United States, the officers may arrest the individual and initiate the process of removal. That's what the government does. They go to places where there's a lot of day laborers, where there's not a lot of paperwork, and they inquire reasonably, promptly. If the individual doesn't speak much English, they may ask for more questions. And so what does the judge do? The judge says you're not allowed to go to places such as bus stops, car washes, day labor pickup sites, ag sites, and the like. You're not allowed to inquire into the type of work one does, and you got to stop targeting people who speak Spanish or bad English. That's what the government's process is. And so what this judge has said is that the sorts of things that the Supreme Court has said the government can do, the government's not allowed to do. And so Kavanaugh at the end concludes that this judge is acting in bad faith. It's a very diplomatically worded response, but you've got to understand that this is Justice Kavanaugh signaling to the judges of the Ninth Circuit who are taking this up on appeal that your district judge has operated in bad faith. And so I'm going to allow this on appeal to the Ninth Circuit. This is Kavanaugh's words now. I believe the court should allow this on appeal to continue going on these ICE raids because by our standard, based on what the district court has done, we think if it continues to come up our way, we're going to give the government a win. And if the Ninth Circuit sides with the local court, they're going to get reversed. That's basically Kavanaugh telling the Ninth Circuit, you guys need to do your job and rein in your district court judges. That's what's happening at the federal level. Now, it's a very big deal, and this now requires me to shake up some of where I was going to start the show. And so I'll move some stuff around in the show to get to this. Amy Coney Barrett, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, has a new book out. She's on book tour. She's been asked about conflicts between the court and the presidency, and are we in a constitutional crisis?
So conflicts between the president and the judiciary are not new. They existed between Andrew Jackson and the Supreme Court. You know, even Abraham Lincoln, you know, there was some conflict. There was conflict between FDR and the Supreme Court. So I think that, you know, when we talk about the separation of powers and the balance of power and there being a tug and a pull between the branches of government, this is, you know, a dance that we've seen before.
She's not wrong. The people on the left are screaming constitutional crisis now because they're not winning. Breaking news happening right now, separate from this case. The Supreme Court has allowed the Trump administration to fire a Democrat on the Federal Trade Commission. This is happening right now. Let me see if I can get this opinion. It has just hit the wires as we come on the show. The president is allowed to fire a member of the Federal Trade Commission. Now, this is kind of a big one, and the reason it's a big one is because there was a lot of question over whether or not the Supreme Court would throw out the old case, Humphrey's Executor, and it looks like the court is headed towards throwing out Humphrey's Executor, given that they're allowing Trump. Again, remember, what is the rule here? You got to understand what the rule is. The rule is that the Supreme Court will grant the administration's position, even if temporarily, if they think there's a high likelihood that the administration will win on appeal, if they believe there's a high likelihood. So the fact that they're saying you can throw out someone on the throw out someone on the Federal Trade Commission, and the FTC is important because that was the Humphrey's Executor decision. So let me back up and explain Humphrey's Executor. Humphrey's Executor was a case when Franklin Roosevelt tried to throw a man off the Federal Trade Commission, last name Humphreys. Humphreys wound up dying. His executor took over the case to get the back pay. Humphreys the court ruled was independent, not making political decisions. And therefore, since it was an independent agency set up by Congress, the decisions of which were not political decisions, Humphreys had to be on the board. They had to allow him. The rule essentially was that Congress could create these quasi-independent agencies, and the individuals could only be fired for cause. You see where this is going with the Federal Reserve and Lisa Cook? FDR just fired the guy because he was a political appointee from the Republicans. He wanted Humphreys gone and argued that the FTC was inside the executive branch. Therefore, he was the executive branch. FDR was, and he could fire him. And the court said Congress has the power to create these independent agencies. If these independent agencies continue to operate independently of the party in the White House and not just carry out the agenda of the president of the day, they're allowed to operate. Essentially, where the Supreme Court is headed now is saying that, with the exception of the Federal Reserve, which they singled out a couple of weeks ago, that the FCC, the FDA, the FTC, the FAA, all of these different entities, at this point, they operate as partisan political operatives designed to obstruct the agenda of the president of the day or to advance the president of the day. So when the president comes in, the Democrats, if the president is a Democrat, the Democrats get the majority, and therefore they advance Democratic agenda. If a Republican comes in, the Republican gets the majority, they advance his agenda. Therefore, these agencies are agencies that actually operate on the whim of the President of the United States. We should stop pretending. The reason they can carve out the Federal Reserve is that the President has limited appointment power within the Federal Reserve. Many of the vestiges of the Federal Reserve are holdovers of the banks of the United States. And so I suspect what we're going to see, if this comes to a fight to the Supreme Court on the Federal Reserve, is the Supreme Court is going to preserve the independence of the Federal Reserve, claiming that based on the original logic of Humphrey's executor, the Federal Reserve is the only remaining entity structured in such a way to keep itself outside of partisan politics. Whether you believe it or not, the court will claim that it's so. Two big cases happening right now as I take the microphone today. So one reason, by the way, can I just pat myself on the back a little bit here in your local radio station? Your podcast is going to be outdated when you get to it. This is live breaking news right now. The United States Supreme Court, out of session on the emergency docket, have made two massive decisions happen just as this show began. Thankfully, I did go to law school, practice con law, among other things, can interpret and digest these decisions pretty quickly for you. On the one, the court is allowing the Immigration Service, ICE, to continue raids in Los Angeles. Justice Kavanaugh all but saying that the district court operated in a partisan manner unbefitting a judge. The second case, the Supreme Court is allowing the president to fire the remaining Democrat on the Federal Trade Commission, which strongly hints that Humphrey's executor is now dead, with the exception of the Federal Reserve. The president will now be emboldened to fire the Democrats from the other outside agencies that are technically independent agencies, and the Supreme Court has just given him the power to do so. When you listen to your next podcast in 3 or 4 days from now, you'll hear this all over again. But thanks to live, local, and national news, you got me here as it happens, telling you what's going on.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1220 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center, making progress with this crash in Duluth, 85 southbound past Pleasant Hill Road, exit 104, just down to blocking the HOT express lane. Still some brake lights back toward Duluth Highway, but should start to improve. 75 southbound in Kennesaw, still watching that right lane construction at Chastain Road. Traffic brought to you by Peach Pass. Life doesn't slow down, and neither can you. With Peach Pass, save time, cruise by traffic, and use your Peach Pass in 20 states, including Georgia. Visit peachpass.com and keep moving. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K a day bonus blitz. The noon keyword is fancy.
Oh, you fancy, huh? Oh, you fancy, huh? Oh, you fancy, huh? Oh, you fancy, huh?
F-A-N-C-Y, fancy. Enter the keyword fancy into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword and win $1,000. The keyword is fancy, F-A-N-C-Y. Don't forget, if you get a phone call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. It could be us telling you you won $1,000. The keyword is fancy. Good luck.
The Red Hot Sale at Omaha Steaks is happening right now. Go to omahasteaks.com, 50% off site-wide. Get an extra $35 off using promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout. Now, why go to Omaha Steaks? First of all, my wife loves the caramel apple tartlets. If you haven't tried them, you totally should. I love their New York strips. They are actually hand-cut by butchers, not machine-processed. They're phenomenal. And as the temperatures cool and you're outside around the grill, now's the time to take advantage of the Red Hot Sales event at Omaha Steaks. You go to omahasteaks.com. You get 50% off site-wide. Load up your cart, whatever you want. Try the bacon wrap flakes. Try the New York strips. Get the caramel apple tartlets. My personal favorite, the little mini chocolate cakes. They're delicious. You get it from Omaha Steaks. They deliver it to your door. Go to omahasteaks.com today. 50% off site-wide. It's the Red Hot Sale event. Get an extra $35 off. Use promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout at omahasteaks.com.
Wall cracks, window stuck, could be a foundation problem. Mark Beckham with Atlanta Ramjack, and our estimators are thoroughly trained to get you the proper evaluation for your home. Schedule your free assessment with the foundation repair experts at atlantaramjack.com.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers. If you think you have a problem, we all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response, they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now, while you still have options.
If you drive a Mercedes, BMW, Land Rover, or any European import, come see us at Rocco's European Garage. Better value than the dealership, honest and all-in pricing with customer approval prior to us beginning, and our services won't void the manufacturer's warranty. Rocco's European Garage.
The purpose, passion, and pleasure of This Stuff Matters is helping as many people as we can. Today, I want to ask you to help me help people. Will you go to our website, thisstuffmatters.net, click the Connect With Us tab, and then give us your thoughts, suggestions, and questions. What matters most in life to you? And how do you think we can be most helpful? Thanks for helping us help others make the most out of what matters most. This is Tom Gray, and This Stuff Matters.
thisstuffmatters.net. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it squeaking and whining for attention? Overhead Door Company of Atlanta is here with same-day repair service. Experienced technicians have been servicing homeowners in Atlanta since 1935. That's 90 years. Overhead Door Company of Atlanta can handle all your garage door and opener needs. For same-day repair service, schedule online at overheaddooratlanta.com or call 404-USA-DOOR.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Just joined us? No worries. Check out the Eric Erickson Show 24/7 stream at ericerickson.com. Available for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. I got to tell you, what I find striking is that in the case against Rebecca Slaughter, that is the FTC appointee, John Roberts didn't even send it to the court. He just, as a matter of procedure, stayed the order of the district court so that it could be reviewed further and briefed further by the administration. So it's not a flat-out win by Donald Trump on that particular case. It's essentially, as Ed Whelan notes, an administrative holding action pending further action. They want some briefing, but it does very much look like the days of Humphrey's executor are coming to an end, which isn't really a bad thing. There's this fictionalized idea that there is a fourth branch of government, and there's not. Congress can certainly create some entities, but the Constitution has three branches of government, not a fourth. And so those new entities Congress creates, they have to be put under one of the existing branches. The Federal Reserve comes the closest to being an independent agency because the president doesn't actually get a say on all of the appointees of the Federal Reserve. And they get a lot of their budgeting authority through the fees and stuff. They're somewhat set up independent. And I can totally see the court saying that the Federal Reserve is a unique constitutional entity in the United States. You're not going to like it, I know. And I'm not really a fan of the idea that the Federal Reserve can be somehow uniquely created, but it also, I recognize, is actually good for our economy to have a separate institution that can't be as politicized as the Federal Reserve could otherwise be if the politicians had direct control. At the same time, it's looking like all these other independent 3- and 4-letter agencies, their days are numbered, that the presidents of the United States will be able to control them. And they might as well. I mean, they actually do already control them. Look at Lena Khan at the FTC when she was there, et cetera. Now, I got to tell you about Americans for Prosperity because they are the largest leading grassroots group in the country. They happen to be on our side. They would love to have you on their side. They'd love to have you on board. But right now, instead of just telling you about, political opportunities to get involved and agendas to push, they actually want Americans to commit to taking a step for freedom in time for our 250th anniversary. You can go to afpvolunteer.com today and sign up. You go to afpvolunteer.com. And you can find out about the 250,000 Steps for Freedom Challenge. It's not you taking 250,000 steps for freedom. It's you taking one step and me taking one step and 249,998 other people taking one step. And we get to 250,000 steps for freedom in time for the 250th anniversary of the country to move the country towards freedom, towards the vision of the founders. Go to afpvolunteer.com today. afpvolunteer.com. Sign up with Americans for Prosperity today. Commit to advancing freedom in your neighborhood.
I'm Chris Chandler. When you join us Tuesday starting at 5 for Atlanta's Morning News, previewing what Apple's got in store for us, a new iPhone looks like, plus how Clark Howard says you can make college an easier decision. And our bonus blitz continues on WSB.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. The name of the young girl killed in a deadly DUI crash in Dunwoody over the weekend has now been released. The DeKalb County Medical Examiner identifying her as 8-year-old Mariah Johnson. She was a passenger in a Honda Civic that was hit by an Atlanta man driving a pickup truck down Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. He fled the scene but was captured in Doraville. He has been booked into the DeKalb County Jail on felony homicide by vehicle and hit-and-run charges. He's also facing DUI charges. Again, the name of the girl has been released, 8-year-old Mariah Johnson. Sunshine and breezy this afternoon, headed for a high of 81, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. In Fulton County, a motions hearing underway today for Robert Aaron Long in connection with the 2021 spa shootings here in Atlanta. He's already serving 4 consecutive life sentences, plus 35 years for killing 4 people and wounding a 5th at a spa in Cherokee County. Fulton County prosecutors seeking the death penalty for an additional 4 murders at 2 spas on Piedmont Road. Defense attorneys are asking the judge to exclude evidence from the Cherokee County case in the Fulton County trial. The hearing expected to take a few days as the judge considers several different motions we'll be watching. A man drowns at a Georgia state park while racing a friend near a beach area. Divers with the Newton County Emergency Management Department recovered the man's body in 15 feet of water. This was at Hard Labor Creek State Park. Witnesses say the man was racing with a friend when he started to struggle. Several bystanders did try to swim out and rescue him, but they could not reach him in time. And this just in Mexico, a train has collided with a double-decker bus, killing at least 8 people and injuring 45 others, according to authorities there. All right, let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is up 3 at 45,404. NASDAQ also in positive territory, and so is the S&P. It's 12:32.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Get a head start on holiday home prep with help from ZeroRez. It's Patrick, owner of ZeroRez. Getting all of those neglected stains out doesn't require chemicals and harsh soaps. No way. ZR Water technology gets your carpets cleaner and lasts longer. Save up to $30. The more rooms you clean, the more you save. Mention WSB to secure this deal or book online at ZeroRezAtlanta.com and ask about our ZeroRez commercial cleaning too. ZeroRez. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Attention men, does ED and PE have you down? Well, great news. Choice Men's Health has the latest breakthrough treatments that can get you up and running. Meet the specialist who is dedicated to helping you perform better than ever in the bedroom.
Hi, I'm Dr. Katz, Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Our custom treatment plans have a 98% success rate at improving ED and PE on your very first visit, even if Viagra and Cialis have failed. Regardless of your age and medical history, we are here and dedicated to help you regain your love life.
Don't wait. Call Choice Men's Health now. We are so confident we can help. For a limited time, we're offering to cover your first treatment for free. Call 404-400-1170. Call now to claim your free treatment. 404-400-1170. Results guaranteed on your first visit or it's free. 404-400-1170. Choice Men's Health, the only choice for your health.
Hey, it's Scott Slade for FGA Roofing. If your home's exterior could use an updated look, or maybe one of your neighbor's designer roofs has caught your eye, and your current roof has started to show its age, then now's the perfect time to check out FGA Roofing for the latest in architectural shingles, timberland shingles, and more. Slate, tile, wood shake, cedar roofs, FGA has them all. FGA Roofing offers 0% financing for 12 months with your good credit. Get the roof you want now and pay over time. Click firstgaroof.com. That's firstgaroof.com.
All right, Alex Williams has a look at your roads.
Got some better news in Duluth, Sabrina. That crash, 85 southbound at Pleasant Hill Road, exit number 104, has cleared. All lanes are back open. It sits on the right shoulder, so delays out of Duluth will start to improve. And we still have the construction zone in Kennesaw, right lane block, 75 southbound, below or right at Chastain Road, exit 271, slowing you from Wade Green Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. A mix of sun and clouds today, breezy through the afternoon, high 81, the northeast wind gusting 20 miles per hour.
75 degrees in Midtown. More news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. 95.5 WSB.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. Thank you for tuning in. The phone number, 877-973-7425. I got to talk about this horrible story in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it isn't really a story I want to talk about, but I kind of have to talk about it. And if you read my morning piece, if you text data to 33777, you can sign up for my show notes. You get a discount. And let me tell you a tariff story. Don't tune out, though, because there's a method to the madness here. And it's not just tariffs, but it's mostly tariffs. So there's a coffee place. I have become a coffee snob, and I've dragged my wife along with me to becoming coffee snobs. I hate Starbucks. I don't like Starbucks coffee. And I know they've got the new machines, and you can get the light brand. You can get the lighter roast bean stuff. I still don't like Starbucks. There's a coffee shop in Smyrna, Georgia called Rev Coffee, and my wife and I get 5-pound bags of coffee. It's a light roast, single source bean from Guatemala. If that makes no sense to you, don't worry about it. All I will say is that the cost of a 5-pound bag has gone up from $100 to $160. The tariff has a lot to do with it because of the tariff rate on Guatemala. It's not the only reason. That's the biggest reason. And Democrats, of course, are starting to point out that the price of bananas is up, the price of coffee is up, and it doesn't help Republicans to respond the way Democrats have responded in the past. Say, well, you should just make a change. Good for you, rich boy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me, blah, 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 blah. That's you can say that to me, that's fine. I have thick skin. But when you start complaining to people who have kids and they're complaining about the price of bananas, it doesn't go over well. But here's the thing. Interest rates are going to get cut probably twice. The economy is going to roar back to life, and people are not going to care about the tariffs as much. And if the Supreme Court strikes them down, well, people really aren't going to care about the tariffs. Do you know what they're still going to care about? Crime. Irina Zarutska was a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee. She fled the war in Ukraine to Charlotte, North Carolina, where she was murdered. She's on a light rail train. And DeCarlos Brown, sitting behind her, she got on the train. He was already there. She got on. She sat in front of him. And he stood up, pulled out a pocket knife, and began stabbing her to death. She bled out on the train. He's been charged with murder. He was arrested back in January. He was charged with misusing 911. He had 14 prior court cases in Mecklenburg County. He had 12 convictions. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison for after convictions for robbery with a dangerous weapon, breaking and entering, and larceny in 2015. The convictions were for 2 separate instances in 2013 and 2014. Career recidivist criminal. He should have been in prison for the rest of his life. At some point, progressives convinced people to get rid of 3 strikes laws. Do you know that in Washington, D.C., almost all crime comes from 400 to 600 individuals? Almost all crime in Washington, D.C., particularly the carjackings, come from between 400 and 600 of the same people who are in a revolving door of justice, who never get put in jail, who take advantage of cashless bail, who get in prison and get out very quickly because of short sentences. Alex Soros, not George, not his dad. His dad is super old. It's Alex Soros, who is funding progressive DAs and progressive judges around the country. The Soros money has caused a number of progressives to get elected in criminal justice positions. And they are causing this crime wave in this country, allowing people out of jail, denying people jail who should be in jail. If interest rates get cut twice this year, which I think they're going to get cut twice now, given the economic news, the economy is going to start roaring. One interest rate cut coming in 2 weeks is going to rev up the economy. Another one in December is really going to speed it up. We're going to get into next year, and the economy is probably going to be doing really well, with or without tariffs, going to be doing real well. And people are going to feel it. And the Democrats will be making an economic message that is neutralized by the state of the American economy that is actually felt by everyone. I got a real hard time right now with some Republicans on the tariff issues. Like, people are feeling it. Scott Bessent, God bless him. I like the guy, and he's in a terrible position defending a policy that he has written about in the past that he doesn't support. Scott Bessent in the private sector was not a tariff guy. Interesting enough, he was a Soros guy. And he was opposed to tariffs, and now he's defending them, and he's doing his best to deflect. He's doing a very good job of it, but it kind of drives me crazy because I know he doesn't really believe it. New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, they've been covering Caterpillar and John Deere and GM and Ford and major American industrial companies that are starting to have problems because of tariffs. The manufacturing businesses in America for which tariffs were supposed to help have lost 76,000 jobs in the last 3 months. They're going to come roaring back to life with interest rate cuts, with or without the tariffs. And the GOP will still have a crime issue, and the Democrats won't have the crime issue or won't have the economic issue. This young woman was murdered on a train, and you know what the Democrats and the media did? They ignored it. You didn't hear about it on ABC. You didn't hear about it on CBS. You didn't hear about it on NBC. You didn't hear about it on CNN. You didn't hear about it on MSNBC. And part of the reason was because she was white and he was black, and we should be real honest about that. If the role was reversed, you know and I know that absolutely this would be a national story, and there would be lots of conversations about race in America if a white person stabbed to death a black person on public transportation. But we live in a world where Daniel Penny can get arrested, go to jail, and be tried for murder when he kept people safe on a subway train in New York City. And we live in a world where Irina Zarutska can be murdered by a homeless man in Charlotte, Mecklenburg, North Carolina, and the mayor of Charlotte have a press conference where she thanks the media for not highlighting the gruesome video and saying we should not stigmatize homeless people based on the actions of one bad person. And the National Press Corps can avoid covering the story until Republicans start talking about it, and then their take is Republicans pounce. Republicans, you should keep talking about this story. It's a gruesome, awful story. Progressives convinced Americans to get rid of three strikes laws. Around the country, we need to bring back the three strikes laws. By the way, they're still complaining about the drug vessel strike. In Venezuela. I'm going to do an event with Scott Jennings tonight here in Macon, Georgia, where I am. Going to introduce him to stage. He's speaking at a conference down here. This is Scott on CNN on this issue.
I'll give you my political view of how I think most Americans are going to view it, most Republicans certainly, and that is that societal decline is a choice. And when you let people come into the country by the millions, when you let drugs flow over the border and you just say, well, let's just get them here and then see how the bureaucracy sorts it out. Most people want a more aggressive response. Societal decline is a choice, and they see this illegal immigration problem and this drug flow problem as part of overall societal decline, and they are hoping and looking for and happy with Trump and Vance taking a muscular response to this.
Yes, they are. Americans actually are happy about the president taking a muscular response. And Rand Paul can go wring his hands on due process, and the Democrats can complain about how do we know they were drug lords? I'm sorry, folks, but I don't really care about the Venezuelan drug lords, and I tend to trust the administration isn't just killing farmers riding around in boats in the Caribbean. And the Democrats have no answer. In fact, there's a funny thing that's happened on social media today. A progressive, and he is a progressive Democrat, said Democrats need an answer for crime. And a response from another prominent progressive was, Democrats are ready to go full Hitler. That's right. Apparently, any reasonable Democrat who thinks the Democrats need to be tough on crime is going full Hitler. That's where the progressive mindset is. The mindset that elects these judges who are bad on crime, the mindset that elects prosecutors who are bad on crime, the mindset that thinks crime is just something that happens. And I'm sorry, but one of the things that Democratic politicians and members of the press are saying is it's a statistical anomaly. It's such a rare thing to happen. Can you imagine the Democratic politicians standing around Irina Zarutska as she bleeds out, telling her, we're very sorry, but we want you to know this is a very rare thing to happen. A lot of good it does her or her family. A lot of good it does her or her family. The story needs to be covered. And again, I would note, and I maintain, and I will double and triple and quadruple down on it, if she were black and the murderer were white, this would be a national news story. But because it's a mentally ill, allegedly, homeless black man who murdered her, caught on tape, it's just another day in America. And for the Democrats to tell us it's a statistical anomaly, as people do not feel safe in cities, as Democrats try to push you and me to use public transportation and give up our cars, they like, oh, crime's just something that happens. It just happens. You can't get rid of crime. You got to listen to this. This is that Eli Mistel idiot. Listen to this.
People have looked and studied and figured out what creates crime, what stops crime, how crime happens. And the evidence shows one thing that I think most people, even in our own community, do not fully appreciate. The police are not there to prevent crime. Police do not prevent crime. At best, they catch criminals after the fact. And that's great. That's necessary. Yay, right? But if what you're actually saying is that you're worried about crime prevention, putting more police on the streets does nothing to help crime prevention.
That's their talking point now. More police doesn't mean crime prevention. Really? Why is crime down in Washington, D.C. right now? That's his talking point. Why is crime down in Washington, D.C.? They put more police and National Guard on the street. This is a 3-card Monty by this moron. Doesn't want to acknowledge that a greater police presence does reduce crime. After the fact, they arrest the criminals. Well, if criminals think they're going to get arrested and go to jail, they're less likely to commit crime. The left doesn't want to acknowledge this. They want to dance around with circular arguments and ignore the logic of the situation. The more police you have in a city, the more the presence of police is seen, the less crime you have. Why do you think they park police out in front of certain locations? It reduces crime. Why do you think they put armed guards in banks? It reduces crime. There's a jewelry store near me. A police officer stays there, parked in his car. They don't have crime, and it's not in a safe neighborhood. They don't have crime because the police presence is there. Police presence does actually help reduce crime because it discourages criminals. And now you've got the left actually arguing that more police don't actually stop crime. Tell you what. Can't know for sure because she's dead, but I bet you Irina Zaritska would have appreciated some police on that train in Charlotte, North Carolina. I bet you she would have appreciated a stronger police presence. I bet you she'd still be alive if there was a stronger police presence. We need to go back to 3 strikes laws. We need to start putting these bad guys back in prison and leaving them there. At some point, some people just need to be locked up with the key thrown away. At the end of the day, we as a society have become confused. Prison is for punishment. It's not for rehabilitation. We should punish them. And those who continue to break the law when they get out of prison, put them back in prison, and the punishment is you never get out again. And that will make the rest of us safer. Most crimes are committed by the same group of people in every city. Groups of people are repeat offenders. And this man, DeCarlos Brown, 12 prior convictions, 14 prior court cases. Now he's murdered someone who escaped the Russian bombs to be murdered on a Charlotte, North Carolina train by a murderous homeless man. May God rest her soul, take care of her family, and comfort her. And may the city of Charlotte, North Carolina, finally get a clue about what to do.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1250 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still watching the jam between Ackworth and Kennesaw with that right lane construction. 75 South Chastain Road, exit 271. Might want to think about Highway 41 as an alternate. Looking at a new slow zone into Cobb County. I think we might have a new crash. We're going to look into this one. 20 West before Wesley Chapel Road, exit 68. Slowing the ride from the mall at Stonecrest. Traffic brought to you by True Natural Gas. Bigfoot probably isn't true. He certainly isn't local. To see something both local and true, visit TrueNaturalGas.com. They're a local company with honest pricing and truly low rates. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It pays to have the WSB radio app. Download it today and get ready for the Blitz.
No way! The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000.
I just won $1,000 from WSB.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Your next chance to win is at 2
I am
p.m.
so excited.
From 95.5 WSB.
Download the WSB radio app now.
Our weather can be crazy. Dry for days and drenched with storms. Extreme heat to bitter cold, and your roof takes all the abuse. Dave Baker for Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. If your roof has problems, it may be showing you signs. Inside, look for wet spots on the ceiling or walls. Outside, check for streaks and stains or granules in the ground. If you find these, think of Findlay first. The perfect match for any roofing issues, and they offer 0% financing. Schedule your free roof analysis at findlayroofing.com.
Roof. I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
You can save big on 6 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Select varieties or buy 2, get 2 free with your card. Limit 8. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and
Daily
Talk.
Show Prep email. Text DATA to 33777 and you'll be in the know.
Housekeeping note for you: if you're on the activist list, you're gonna get an email from me. I have decided I gotta give up my activist role. You know, I love to drive you guys to call Congress or your state legislature, particularly people in Georgia. I've done it in the past, but we've got the cost of the activism portal that I used is up over $30,000 a year now. And I don't use it enough to justify that cost. So I'm sending everybody who is an activist subscriber an email, just pushing them to use my show notes email to subscribe to show notes, because I can still send emails from there. They can't be as targeted. I can't target people by state or zip code and stuff like that. But I cannot afford just to keep spending $30,000+ a year on an activism portal. As much as I love being able to, I think I'm the only radio show host in the country that does it. And I love that activism stands out, but it's really expensive. It's actually gone up by about $10,000 in just the last year in the cost. And I don't want to, I got other stuff. I got employees. I gotta cover salaries. We've got a lot more travel now to affiliates around the country, and I just can't justify it. So when you get an email, here's what's going to happen. You're going to flood the call. You're going to flood the show and say, is this spam? Is this spam? I think this is spam. No, it's not spam. It actually is from me with a link to my daily Substack email that you can subscribe to if you're not a subscriber. So that's it. And if you want to find out all the links, you can text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. And you can get the podcast, the show notes, the live stream, and so much more. Trying to keep you guys engaged. And I actually want to keep you engaged in the fight at the state, local, and federal level. But I can't afford to fund this portal anymore. So we'll find new creative ways to do it. Now, I got to tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm because you can get 3 of them. You can save $200. Get them for less than $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. What you do is you go to the website, EdenPureDeals.com. You put in the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3, and you get 3 of them. Now, they're an air purifier, so they get rid of pollen, they get rid of dust, they get rid of the stuff floating in the air. They kill 99.9% of bacteria and viruses with a generation of plasma. But where they really shine, I actually don't use it as an air purifier. I use it as an odor eliminator. It generates ozone, and ozone wipes out odors. Odors are ionized particles, and ozone is 3 atoms of oxygen in a molecule, which is unstable. And so when the ionized particle of the odor touches the ozone particle, it releases one of the atoms of oxygen, and it wipes out the odor particle. It's science, and it works. It is EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3, and you will be killing all odors. They're small, too, by the way. You can hold this thing in the palm of your hands, plug it into the wall, use a USB cord, and they just work. I keep one in my travel bag. So you get upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, get 3 of them, less than $200. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC, ERICK, the number 3, no space, ERIC3 at EdenPureDeals.com. Go check them out today.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
So if you can't handle your real face, then don't tell me how to handle my life.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
They have a lot more money now because they stopped kneeling.
Eric Von Hessler.
Things are going to get broken.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're a different kind of wireless company dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Because let's face it, our needs are different. Big wireless unlimited plans are designed for 20-somethings, not us. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on one thing, bringing you affordable, reliable rate plans that suit your needs, not ours. How do we do that? We start by using the same towers as the big guys, the exact same towers. We then create rate plans designed for your usage. The fact is, we can offer you an unlimited plan with the same network quality for less because we understand how you use wireless services. Our plans start at just $20 a month. And forget trying to chat with robots. You'll get 100% US-based award-winning customer service when you need help. Come find out how wireless should be and join the millions who've made the switch.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. New information on Friday's shooting at a business on Memorial Drive. DeKalb police today determining there was a connection to drugs.
DeKalb County police found evidence that the business was being used for narcotic sales and it was targeted for drug-related reasons.
That is Blaine Clark with DeKalb police. He says that they've arrested 4 people now who were not injured in the shooting. They are all facing drug and weapon charges. Police are continuing to search for suspects in the shooting. Your weather for today, afternoon sunshine, breezy. Some of the winds could be gusting up to 20 miles an hour. Highs around 81, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just a matter of minutes. Police today investigating after a pedestrian was hit and killed this morning on Cobb Parkway near Crater Lake Drive in Kennesaw. Investigators had to shut down part of Cobb Parkway for most of the drive-in this morning. Police have not identified the victim, and they have yet to tell us if the pedestrian was in was walking in or outside of a crosswalk. The name of the young girl killed in a deadly DUI crash in Dunwoody has now been released to the DeKalb County Medical Examiner, identifying her as 8-year-old Mariah Johnson. She was a passenger in a Honda Civic. It was hit by an Atlanta man who was driving a pickup truck down Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. He fled the scene but was later captured in Doraville. He has been booked into the DeKalb County Jail on felony homicide by vehicle, hit and run, and DUI charges. A week-long worth of motions hearings begin today in Fulton County. They're underway for the man accused in that deadly spa shooting in 2021.
Robert Aaron Long is already serving 4 consecutive life sentences for killing 4 people and injuring a 5th at a spa in Cherokee County. Fulton County prosecutors are seeking the death penalty for 4 more murders at 2 spas on Piedmont Road. Defense attorneys are asking the judge to exclude evidence from the Cherokee County case in Fulton County. Other motions focus on jury selection and Georgia's lethal injection statute. The shootings rocked Metro Atlanta's Asian American community as 6 of the victims were of Asian descent. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
And President Trump addressing the second meeting of the White House Religious Liberty Commission today, which he established back in May. On the agenda for this meeting, religious liberties in public education. The president also talked about crime in the nation's capital and says it's now down 87%.
And I don't know why Chicago isn't calling us saying, please give us help. When you have, over just a short period of time, 50 murders and hundreds of people shot, and then you have a governor that stands up and says how crime is just fine.
And Chicago could be the next city that the Trump administration plans to deploy National Guardsmen. Let's take a look at the markets. We're in the green. The Dow's up 7 at 45,408. NASDAQ also in positive territory, and so is the S&P. It's 102.
Better prices, better views. Window comfort, meant just for you. Window comfort.
Imagine the relief of windows without annoying drafts or high energy bills. Window Comfort's making it easier than ever with buy 2, get 2 free, no payments till 2026, and expert one-day installation. Go to windowcomfort.com for your no-pressure estimate today.
Better prices, better views. Window comfort, meant just for you. Window comfort.
This is Wes Moss from Money Matters. You know, retirement is a lot like football. The best teams don't just show up on game day. They've got great coaches and a smart game plan. Without one, things go off the rails quickly. At Capital Investment Advisors, we would act as your retirement coach, building both the big picture strategy and the detailed plays that aim to help you score the retirement you want. Don't go into retirement with a bad playbook. Visit us at yourwealth.com. That's yourwealth.com.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
If you own a Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, or any European import, come see us at Rocco's European Garage. Better value than the dealership, upfront and clear pricing with customer approval prior to us beginning, and a 3-day appointment window to get you back on the road quicker. Rocco's European Garage.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
All right, live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
Still watching these brake lights out in DeKalb County, Sabrina, on I-20 westbound, leaving the mall at Stonecrest due to some trouble blocking at least one lane past Panola Road, exit 71. And still jammed up between Ackworth and Kennesaw. It's that right lane construction, 75 southbound at Chastain Road, exit 271, slowing you just south of Highway 92. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. A mix of sun and clouds today. Breezy, high 81. The northeast wind gusting 20 miles per hour. Lows tonight in the upper 50s, low 60s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 83. Warming up on Wednesday with sunshine, high 84.
75 degrees right now in Smyrna, at 76 in Cartersville. Brazelton at 73 degrees. More news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
My fellow Americans, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Glad to have you with me across the United States of America. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you'd like to be on the program, I must talk about science. You know, I like science. Science is not fact. Science is theory and hypothesis and testing, and over time it can change, and over time some can become fact. Math is fact. This weird idea that you could have some sort of subjective math, this racialized math component that some people have in Common Core math and the garbage. In fact, my daughter in college went to a school that taught real math, and she was horrified. She sent my wife and me a picture the other day of some kid who had subtracted something, and the subtraction took up like most of the page, as opposed to my kids. It took up three lines. It was the top number, the bottom number, and then the result. And this other kid, using Common Core math, just messed the whole thing up. And then you've got the racialized math. And now, you know, racialized math is if all the kids in the word problem have white names, the black kid might not want to get the math question right. Can believe it or not, that's actually a thing, according to the wokes. They just politicize everything. Well, there's a story in the New York Times. The headline, "We are watching a scientific superpower destroy itself." And it is by Stephen Greenblatt. Ironically, they don't say Dr. Stephen Greenblatt, just Mr. Greenblatt is a professor of the humanities at Harvard. And I thought, wait a second. So we have a man purporting to write about the scientific superpower destroying itself, and he's not even a scientist. He's the John Cogan University Professor of the Humanities. Let me read you the Harvard website. He's got a BA from Yale, a Master's of Philosophy from Cambridge, a PhD from Yale. His interests are Shakespeare, early modern literature and culture, literature of travel and exploration, religion and literature, literature and anthropology, and literary and cultural theory. His selected works, Tyrant, Shakespeare on Politics, The Rise and Fall of Adam and Eve, The Swerve, How the World Became Modern, Shakespeare's Freedom, Cultural Mobility, Hamlet in Purgatory, the Norton Anthology of English Literature, the general editor of that, Practicing New Historicism with Catherine Gallagher, the general editor of Norton Shakespeare Anthology, the editor of the New World Encounters, author of Marvelous Possessions, Learning to Curse, Shakespearean Negotiations, Renaissance Self-Fashioning, Second Chances, Shakespeare and Freud, Dark Renaissance, The Dangerous Times and Fatal Genius of Shakespeare's Greatest Rival. So he's a Shakespeare expert, and yet somehow he's the guy the New York Times has turned to discuss a scientific superpower destroying itself. The Trump administration's assault on America's universities by cutting billions of dollars of federal support for scientific and medical research has called up from somewhere deep in my memory the phrase duck and cover. These were the words drilled into American children in the 1950s. We heard them on television, where they accompanied a cartoon about a wise turtle named Bert who withdrew from his shell at any sign of danger. In class, when our teachers gave the order, we were instructed to follow Bert's example by diving under our desks and covering our necks. Those actions were meant to protect us from the nuclear attack that could come, we were told, at any time. Though even in elementary school, most of us intuited that there was something futile in these attempts to shield ourselves from destruction, we dutifully went through the motions. How else could we deal with the anxiety caused by the menace? The anxiety greatly increased in October 1957 when Americans learned of the Soviet Union's successful launch of the world's first satellite, Sputnik 1. The vivid evidence of the technological superiority and rocketry of our Cold War enemy provoked a remarkably rapid response. In 1958, by bipartisan vote, Congress passed and President Eisenhower signed the National Defense Education Act, one of the most consequential federal interventions in education in the nation's history. Together with the National Science Foundation and the National Institutes of Health, it made America into the world's undisputed leader in science and technology. Nearly 70 years later, that leadership is in peril. According to the latest annual Nature Index, which tracks research institutions by their contributions to leading science journals, the single remaining U.S. institution among the top 10 is Harvard, in second place, far behind the Chinese Academy of Sciences. The others are the University of Science and Technology of China, Zhejiang University, Peking University, the University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, Tsinghua University, Nanjing University, Germany's Max Planck Society, and Shanghai Jiao Tong University. And on it goes, this expert in Shakespeare lamenting our decline in science. I want to say a couple things here. One, I actually agree with him. You know, I'm a conservative. I'm not a libertarian. I do think there's a role for government to some degree in our lives, though very restrained and mostly to protect us from government. But let's take my wife's cancer as an example, because it really is a perfect example here. If the free market were to research cancer, my wife's cancer is one the free market would not research because it is very difficult to understand and process. Not a lot of people get it. It's not where you get the most bang for the buck. It required federal research and academic research to come up with a cure for my wife's cancer. My wife has a cure. Well, has a medicine she can take that doesn't cure it but keeps the cancer from spreading. It is made by Big Pharma, the evil Big Pharma, keeping my wife alive. But AstraZeneca, which makes the medicine, the development of the medicine based on governmental and academic research that the private sector didn't fund because the private sector couldn't see a way to make money off the research. It was only later that the private sector did. I have concerns. I do have concerns about cutting government funding for this research. My wife is a living example of the need for this academic and government-funded research to improve the lives of people that can then be divested from the government towards the private sector, working together with the public sector to find cures. Public-private partnerships. It works. It does. It's good. I mentioned last week that I interviewed an 11-year-old. The 11-year-old is cured of sickle cell anemia through stem cell transplant. The studies in stem cells came from a government academic research partnership, not from Big Pharma, but then Big Pharma got involved and helped produce the medicines that help stabilize the stem cell transplants and make it all possible. Working hand in glove, they were able to do it. I do have concerns. I do have concerns about the government. I do have concerns about not being able to fund this stuff. And I do have concerns about our level of academic public-private partnerships related to the development of science. I do. But you know what I also have concerned about? I also have concerns about the number of American scientific publications that didn't want to publish scientific material unless it was diverse enough. I have real concerns about the number of scientific papers that have been published that have been debunked that went all in on trying to tell us the life cycle of lesbian turtles. I have a lot of concern about the mass exodus of science from science and the mass entrance of progressive politics into science. And what I find troubling is that the people who wring their hands about the Trump administration, and even RFK, who I'm on record, I really don't like the guy. I think he's bad news. But I have a real hard time with a lot of the critics on the left attacking all this stuff who cannot, for the life of them, point out that it was the politicization of progressive political agendas in science that opened the door for the response from the right. If you're not willing to acknowledge that having the pagan Satanist at the CDC who couldn't tell gay men to stop having sex for 2 weeks to stop monkeypox, I think you're irrelevant to the conversation. I really do. If you can't understand that devoting your scientific publications to diversity, equity, and inclusion as opposed to actual science, you got problems. The scientific community has discredited its own science by becoming so involved in woke politics. That's just the reality. You may not like it, but it's true. And until academics like Stephen Greenblatt and others are willing to recognize and acknowledge that the scientific community and the academic community tied to the science community have hurt themselves by embracing progressive political theory over actual raw science, you're going to have problems. You've discredited yourselves, and you're not going to be able to fix the problems. Yes, I'm really concerned about China advancing, but you know why China is advancing in the scientific realm? Because China has not bothered to bog itself down into the woke, politically correct actions and agendas of the American academic left and many in the scientific community. Unless you're willing to recognize that the American scientific and academic community have degraded themselves, you're not going to be able to solve the problem. And blaming Donald Trump is just a way of scapegoating your own problems. Public-private partnerships in science, particularly science that shows the potential for benefit but not the immediacy of profit, are actually good things. Not a libertarian. The idea that if we just let the private sector handle all the research, that everybody will benefit, I don't actually think it's true, because the profit motive does suggest to me that they would leave on the floor some theories that do not show enough potential for a rate of return to be worth studying, and oftentimes that's where the cures are. And for those of you who say, well, then, but if that's where the cures are, that's where they would do it. I want a bird in hand versus two in the bush. I think you're mistaken. I see the benefits in my wife's life of public-private partnerships when it comes to cancer research from the federal government and academic institutions. I see the benefit. My wife lives after being given 2 years to live. But for the life of me, I just can't understand the people who can't understand that when you're polluting your politics into the science, you're not doing science anymore. When the scientific community can no longer tell us what a man and a woman is because the politically progressive agenda of the trans community has polluted science. Heard the story last night of a woman who is pregnant and has some health issues but identifies as a man and is berating people for calling her a her while they're trying to help save her and the life of her child. And she's more concerned about getting the pronouns right. And that sort of stuff invades the scientific community and breaks down their thinking. They start blacklisting scientists who aren't down with their politically progressive agenda. They've done it to themselves. I have lots of concerns about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I've stated them regularly. But if you on the left cannot understand that your own actions contributed to this, the politicizations during COVID, the calling people conspiracy theorists who actually just thought differently about the situation and turned out to be right, the politicization of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the scientific realm. Atoms are neither black nor white, nor should you treat them as such. The idea that we got to elevate diverse voices over the best voices. All of these things hurt the scientific community and the academic community well before Donald Trump came onto the scene. And that they cannot acknowledge it suggests they are incapable, once Donald Trump leaves, of fixing the problem. And we will continue to fall further and further behind because they have decided that politics trumps science. Them on the left, not Trump. The people on the left did that.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
121 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Trouble still slowing the ride in the cab. 20 westbound. Brake lights find you near the mall at Stonecrest. Getting past a crash, blocking a lane past Panola Road, exit 71. More trouble just moved off to the right in Duluth, 85 southbound before Beaver Ruin Road, exit 102, keeping the ride slow from 316. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Shop organics at Whole Foods Market. Get organic black, red, and green seedless grapes for $2.99 per pound with Prime through September 9th while supplies last. Shop in-store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
Online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
All right, thank you. The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
Oh, my word.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app. The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Your next chance to win is at 2 p.m.
At Jape Services, family isn't just a slogan, it's how we do business.
Our family has been helping homeowners with their heating and cooling since 1978.
And now, we're riding along just like our dad did when he was 14.
And today, we're here to help your family stay cool and comfortable. If your AC is struggling, call Jape Services for honest pricing, expert heating and cooling repair, or replacement.
Decades of experience, family-run values, service you can trust.
Let our family take care of your family.
Jape Services.
Skip the hassles of a traditional home sale and sell your home quickly with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. With the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can bypass the market, receive the strongest all-cash offer in the industry, and close in as little as 21 days. Our guaranteed offer keeps you in control. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
With thousands of 5-star reviews, it's no wonder CertaPro Painters is Greater Atlanta's most preferred painting company. Hear from one of their happy customers.
We wanted to add some color to our walls, so we hired CertaPro. We had built-in shelves that were supposed to be ready to paint when they got there, which they were not. CertaPro spent hours caulking and sanding to make sure the job was done right. It's rare to find a crew with integrity who really take pride in their work.
When choosing a painting professional, choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. When markets get rocky, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Hi, I'm David Nicholas, president and founder of Nicholas Wealth Management. Times like these demand action and a plan you can trust. That's why we rely on our trademark Retire Ready Bucket strategy. This strategy is designed to place a percentage of your portfolio into lower risk, income producing income bucket, aiming to generate steady cash flow for the first 10 to 15 years of retirement. Meanwhile, your growth bucket is filled with dividend and growth stocks, which has time to recover when markets are going crazy. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com to schedule a time to sit down with our team to review your plan. This strategy was crafted by experience. It's battle tested, and it's how you aim to keep your retirement on track even when the markets are not. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. At Nicholas Wealth Management, we're prepared. Are you? Don't wait for the next headline to shake your confidence. Call Nicholas Wealth today, 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. Nicholas Wealth Management. Retire ready.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Neither the information nor any opinion expressed is to be construed as solicitation to buy or sell a security or personalized investment, tax, or legal advice.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're a different kind of wireless company dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Because let's face it, our needs are different. Big Wireless Unlimited plans are designed for 20-somethings, not us. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on one thing, bringing you affordable, reliable rate plans that suit your needs, not ours. How do we do that? We start by using the same towers as the big guys, the exact same towers. We then create rate plans designed for your usage. The fact is, we can offer you an unlimited plan with the same network quality for less because we understand how you use wireless services. Our plans start at just $20 a month. And forget trying to chat with robots. You'll get 100% US-based award-winning customer service when you need help. Come find out how wireless should be and join the millions who've made the switch.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. Let's hop to the phones. Bob on this science topic. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, Eric. Thank you for listening to my thoughts. I heard you talking about this gentleman, the humanities fellow who talked about the death of science. I would contend that the fundamental issue is one of worldview. Atheists are capable of studying science because they believe there's such a thing as absolute truth. The problem is not Christians. We started science, and it flourished under our understanding of absolute truth, which is even richer than the atheists, obviously. But the problem is postmodernism, which is the legitimate offspring of atheism, and that's what's killing science. That's why the atheistic countries can still do decent science, even though they have no reason for it and they have no moral basis for doing it.
Look, I think that's a strong point. The atheist societies trying to understand the way the world works, and for those of you who are laughing at Bob here, he's telling the truth that it was actually a Christians who wanted to try to better understand God and the rules of the natural order that actually really dived into science. And I mean, before them, they based off the Greek philosophers and Aristotle. A lot of revisionist history these days trying to claim that Christians rejected it, and a lot of people going after the Catholic Church, for example, for Galileo, who they really weren't actually punishing Galileo for claiming the world revolved around the sun, which it did. And yet that's where the historic revisionism is. But yeah, in the postmodern world, part of the problem, to Bob's point, is for those of you who don't understand postmodernism elevates emotions over reason. That's why people say things like I feel instead of I think, and my truth instead of the truth, because they're elevating their feelings over everything else. And that trickles into the scientific community as well. And emotionalism trumps raw reason, and you need reason to get science. In fact, if you go to ericforhillsdale.com, you can take one of their classes on scientific reasoning for free with a great professor at Hillsdale College. Every lecture's 30 minutes. They're videotaped. And then once it's done, you can take more classes. But each class depends on the episode. So, for example, they've got a great class on the Federalist Papers right now. And I think there are 12 classes. And again, it's 30 minutes each lecture 30 minutes. So you come away learning a lot. But they've got classes on science generally, chemistry, math, basic economics, philosophy, theology, politics, history, literature. You can pick whichever one you want to take, and you do it for free. It's Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. You sign up today with Hillsdale College and commit to learning. There's a topic surely that you are interested in. Surely there's a topic you're interested in. You can find out so much more about it than you already know with Hillsdale College's great faculty. All you do is go to ericforhillsdale.com. Sign up today. Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. Some breaking news as we go to break. The Prime Minister of France resigning, bringing down that government because Emmanuel Macron more and more out of touch. We'll be right back.
More local news.
Atlanta's airport's bracing for record-breaking crowds. Apparent murder in the Grant Park area.
More traffic.
A crash in the Cobb Cloverleaf.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
You're on and off the brakes beginning at University.
More weather.
Looking at rotation that is near the city of Brooks, thunderstorm is capable of producing a quick spin-up tornado.
Atlanta's Morning News.
Governor Kemp reacting to that tariff pause.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios. News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. Locally, police investigating after a pedestrian is hit and killed on Cobb Parkway near Crater Lake Drive in Kennesaw. Investigators had to shut down part of Cobb Parkway today for most of the morning commute. Police not identifying the victim yet. They have not told us if that pedestrian was walking in or outside of a crosswalk either. The 8-year-old girl killed in a DUI crash in Dunwoody has been identified by the DeKalb medical examiner as Mariah Johnson. She was a passenger in a car that was hit by an Atlanta man driving a pickup truck down Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. He fled the scene but was captured in Doraville. He's now facing charges of felony homicide by vehicle, hit and run, and DUI. Convicted spa shooter Robert Aaron Long back in a courtroom today. There's a motions hearing underway in Fulton County Superior Court in his death penalty case. He's already serving life for the murders of 4 people at a Cherokee County spa. Defense attorneys want evidence now from the case kept out of the Fulton County trial, where prosecutors are also treating the murders of 4 additional victims as hate crimes. Other motions focus on jury selection and lethal injection here in Georgia. The hearing could take days. We will be watching. Now, how mortgages are impacting marriages. Deborah Rodriguez has that story.
Who wants to get divorced and split up the property when the mortgage is so low? A new report finds more couples are staying together so they don't have to sell the family home and lose those 2% rates they locked in when they refinanced during the pandemic. While some continue to live under the same roof, the Wall Street Journal says other ex and estranged spouses are going as far as living separately in trailers on the same property, though they say maintaining boundaries is more difficult. Current mortgage rates are upwards of 6%.
And as we take a look at your money here on your lunch hour, your late lunch hour, the Dow is currently up 19 at 45,420. NASDAQ also in positive territory, up more than 0.5%, and the S&P is also in the green. It's 132.
Y'all, it's Eric. Windows 10 is sunsetting. End of support on October 14th of this year. It's also my anniversary. No end of support for my marriage. Just into support for your computer if you're on Windows 10. You got to update. Now, what does that mean, into support? It means Microsoft is going to stop issuing security patches for your computer if you're on Windows 10. So you actually do need to update for your own good and safety, and Vision Computers can help you transfer to Windows 11. How do you do it? You call them at 404-COMPUTE and say, Eric sent you, I need some help. They can get you upgraded to Windows 11. It is for your own good and safety and that of your company that you move to Windows 11 because of the security updates, if nothing else. So call Vision Computer at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. Tell them Eric sent you. You might be able to save some money. You got to get it done before October 14th because you're not going to get security patches from Microsoft after that for Windows 10. Let Vision Computer take care of you. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com.
Attention men, does ED and PE have you down? Well, great news. Choice Men's Health has the latest breakthrough treatments that can get you up and running. Meet the specialist who is dedicated to helping you perform better than ever in the bedroom.
Hi, I'm Dr. Katz, Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Our custom treatment plans have a 98% success rate at improving ED and PE on your very first visit, even if Viagra and Cialis have failed. Regardless of your age and medical history, we are here and dedicated to help you regain your love life.
Don't wait. Call Choice Men's Health now. We are so confident we can help. For a limited time, we're offering to cover your first treatment for free. Call 404-400-1170. Call now to claim your free treatment. 404-400-1170. Results guaranteed on your first visit or it's free. 404-400-1170. Choice Men's Health, the only choice for your health.
This is Mike Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers.
And this is Jonathan Geller. And Dad, you've got to admit, our history is pretty cool. 86 years, 3 generations of love stories.
What keeps us going is that we've still got the best jewelry and diamonds at prices nobody can beat.
It all comes down to the best jewelry, best service, and best prices at D. Geller & Son in Kennesaw, Sandy Springs, and online at dgeller.com.
Affordable jewelry for
is at D. Geller & Son.
And Alex Williams has a look at your roads.
Still watching the slow zone on the East Freeway. 20 westbound jammed in from the mall at Stonecrest. Got a crash blocking at least one lane past Panola Road, exit 71. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. A mix of sun and clouds today, breezy through the afternoon, high 81, the northeast wind gusting 20 miles per hour.
We'll have more news at 2 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Let's go out to Oklahoma and take a call from Grant, waiting patiently. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Hey, Mr. Erickson, great to get on your show. I think you got one of the most insightful shows on the air, lots of good topics. I'm going to get straight to the point. We've heard a lot of talk about the Federal Reserve and central banking, and I understand that central banking is there so that we can avoid ups and downs in the economy. But my concern about the Federal Reserve is we are a fiat currency. We're no longer backed by silver or gold, and during the Nixon-Kissinger administration, Kissinger set up the petrodollar. Well, we're no longer backed by the petrodollar either. So I'm just curious, what's the short-term and long-term goal of the Fed since we have a paper currency which has always historically been doomed to fail?
Well, okay, that's a great point. Always doomed to fail. Here's how it has been restructured over time is that pretty much every major market economy's currency is also a fiat currency now. So you can't, essentially the entire global economy repackaged so that if everybody's currency is based on paper, then no currency can fail because they all fail. And it's a house of cards, yes, but it's also a house of cards that's actually worked pretty good. In the past, our currency was backed by gold or by silver. During World War II, they wanted to move away from that. After World War II, and as they restructured economies around the world, essentially everybody got together and said, all right, the dollar is going to be the starting point, and we're gonna value currencies around the world based on where the dollar is. The dollar is the reserve currency. It's the strongest economy in the world, and it has been. Now, what's happening is that in the past, we would have a lot of nations that weren't even friendly to the United States. The Soviet Union, for example, would conduct global trade still in the dollar because the dollar was the most easily convertible currency on the planet. Have you seen the price of gold lately? Have you seen it? Gold has skyrocketed. Gold in the past, and I'm not an expert here, but I've read enough, talked to enough people. Gold has skyrocketed, not because it's a hedge against inflation. Inflation is going down. Gold is skyrocketing because the BRIC nations are working very hard to detach global currency trades from the dollar. They want to trade in gold. And this gets to something my caller here is talking about, that when all these countries start trading in gold again, you're detaching all the paper currency valuations from propping each other up. It's one reason, by the way, there is some economic theory within the Trump administration that the tariffs are actually stabilizing the dollar, and that the tariffs are useful in that regard in replacement for the reserve currency and trading, that we're capturing trade values through tariffs. Now, that's a very esoteric theory, and it's very much the right-wing equivalent of modern monetary theory, as best I can tell. Modern monetary theory being the theory that the Biden administration deployed to essentially say you can print money on end forever and not get inflation as long as you tax the wealthy. And of course, you know what the left says. The left says, well, we didn't actually tax the wealthy. That's why we got inflation, which is kind of nonsense. I honestly, I'll tell you what I think. I find the whole argument over gold currency and fiat currency to be very esoteric and boring. And there's a certain segment of the population that really galvanizes to it. And my theory is we got what we got. And if you want to change it, change it. But you're probably not going to be able to change it, because the value of our Federal Reserve System, though I honest to God believe it's an unconstitutional structure, I also believe the Supreme Court is not going to throw it out. And because the Supreme Court's not going to throw it out, we're going to keep the Federal Reserve System, which actually does provide more assurances to the economy than when we were on gold or otherwise. Why? Because of massively wild swings in prices. You know, back in the day, you could have countries buy up lots of reserves of gold or dump lots of gold, causing swings. You don't get that with the Federal Reserve System. Most people don't care. We certainly have recessions. We certainly have swings in the economy, but not to the extent we used to have historically. So I see no reason to relitigate or to litigate gold currency versus fiat currency. Like, we've got this system. This is our system, and this is largely the global system. My caution to people who are committed to the system, however, is to pay attention to other countries in the world that are now trying to do their trading through gold as a way to get around the United States being the reserve currency. It is an assault on American power in the world, particularly our financial power in the world. And it is going to hurt us if they're successful. So you got to find a way to deal with it. And I personally think that imposing tariffs does cause more problems with the structure. All that being said, what I let me just, for those of you who aren't aware of the situation, so we have, I think, 12 Federal Reserve banks, federal banks in the nation. This harkens back to the day of having a U.S. banking system and banks, and we've got we've got a number of banks, and then the Federal Reserve is the central bank, and the Federal Reserve doesn't do monetary deposit and accounting for individuals; it does it for banks. And the member banks put members on the Federal Reserve Board. And it's a complicated process of Class A directors, Class B directors, Class C directors. You have the Federal Reserve Board of Governors are people appointed by the president. And they have 14-year terms. They can't repeat their terms. And those 14-year terms are designed to go through various administrations. They appoint directors to the boards of the Federal Reserve banks. And then the member banks appoint boards, some to represent the banks and some to represent the public. And then the Federal Reserve member banks get some seats on the Open Markets Committee that sets interest rates, and along with presidential appointees. The presidential appointees get the majority of the appointments. The banks get the other appointments. Over time, the way it works is that the Federal Reserve Board of Governors can begin to exert more control over the Federal Reserve banks. But remember, the member banks, the banks in each region of the country, have independent voting power on the Federal Reserve Bank, so they can preserve some independence of the Fed. It's a very convoluted system, which is why I think, given the convoluted nature of the system and the checks and balances within the Federal Reserve, the Supreme Court will protect it. But in so protecting it, I also think that while the president's not going to get his way there, he's going to get his way with a lot of the other boards, a lot of the other independent commissions. As I said in the first hour, Amy Coney Barrett was asked in a conversation by Bari Weiss of the Free Press, soon to be of CBS News, about a federal constitutional crisis with the president. And Barrett, I think Justice Barrett rightly pointed out, there's really no constitutional crisis in the country right now. I want to go back to when Joe Biden was president and the Democrats controlled the Senate. There was a big push by Democrats to pack the Supreme Court. They wanted to get rid of the filibuster and add seats to the Supreme Court. You notice how they don't have that concern anymore. They've gone completely quiet on the idea of packing the Supreme Court. Why not? You would think if the Supreme Court was that bad and that out of touch, they would still support adding seats to the Supreme Court. And they don't want to add seats to the Supreme Court right now. Why? Because it was always partisan. And they leveraged their access to the press with ProPublica, CNN, NBC, New York Times, MSNBC, and the Washington Post to do hit jobs on conservative justices. They attacked Justice Thomas most of all, and then Sam Alito and his wife flying that flag. They've attacked Justice Barrett and family connections there. And they don't care to hold the left-wing members of the court to the same standard. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, for the record, took more trips on other people's dime than any other member of the court, and they never assailed her for that fact. Sonia Sotomayor does it as well, and they don't go after her. They only go after the conservatives. It's just very wild that there was this massive need to add more seats to the Supreme Court, and the moment Donald Trump and the Republicans took over, suddenly nothing. Because the definition of a constitutional crisis in the United States today is a constitutional crisis is when Democrats don't get their way. That's a constitutional crisis in the United States of America. A constitutional crisis exists when Democrats do not get what Democrats want from the system. Donald Trump is getting much from the system, and Donald Trump is establishing precedents that will benefit the next Democrat. And the Supreme Court is giving Donald Trump those precedents in part because the Supreme Court of today realizes the Supreme Court of the past made some bad decisions. And one of the things the Supreme Court of the past did was undermine the power of the president as the executive branch. And this Supreme Court is staffed with 6 members who believe in reading plainly the Constitution. The Constitution of the United States says the executive power of the United States is vested in a president of the United States. The executive power is invested in a president, not a president and other entities, just a president, period. Therefore, when you have entities that operate within the executive branch, like the Federal Trade Commission, the Federal Aviation Administration, the Federal Communications Commission, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, those are entities that are controlled by the President of the United States of America. Therefore, the President of the United States of America should, within the limits of legislation, get to control them. And if the president wants to fire a Democratic appointee to the board and that board can keep quorum, then the president can act. And if the president wants to fire members of the board such that it loses quorum and it has no power to act at all, the president should be allowed to do that. That's not a constitutional crisis. That's the structure of the Constitution. It's just done right now in a way that the Democrats don't like. Because why? Conservatives and Republicans and the populists and the Trump administration would prefer the government to do less. And if they want to neuter entities within the United States government that have regulatory power so those entities cannot operate, it's perfectly within their right under the Constitution. And that's not a constitutional crisis. That's the structure of the Constitution. If you don't like it, amend the Constitution. This isn't hard. Democrats scream about constitutional crises when the Republicans are doing things that the Democrats think only they should do. And if you want to understand the Trump administration, if you want to understand the operations of a lot of the right these days, you need to understand this. The right and the Trump administration are in many ways operating now in ways they believe the left has long operated. The left can deny they've operated in that way, but many of these people on the right and the Trump administration believe they have operated in those ways, and they are doing so accordingly. So, for example, take the murder in Charlotte, North Carolina. Many people on the right, myself included, are pointing out that if the roles were reversed, it was a white murderer and a black victim, the national media would cover this ad nauseum, because you and I both know the media is not covering it right now because it's a black murderer and a white victim. You may disagree with me, but you're wrong. You are objectively wrong. And my case in point is those shootings that happened on the same weekend, the mass shooting in Alabama that was at a birthday party where something like 16 people were shot, and it turned out to be a black family's birthday party. The shooters were black, the victims were black, and the media moved on quickly. And in New York, a white girl was shot by a white man because she turned around in his driveway and she was killed, and the media moved on quickly. But in Missouri, a young black boy was shot through the door by an 80-year-old white man, and the president of the United States himself got involved in that story, though the young black man thankfully lived. But that was the story of the nation. That was the national news story because it was a young black boy and an old white guy who shot him through the door, and it became a national news story. That story had no more relevance to the nation than the story of a Ukrainian refugee on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina, getting stabbed to death by a black man. But the one story in Missouri became a national story, and this one didn't. Why? The only thing you can conclude is it was race. And the right and the Trump administration are now using the same rules that the left used to shape stories, guide stories, build stories, cover stories, and execute powers in and out of government. It's just the nature of the beast. And those of you on the left who are horrified by it, well, then you should stop doing it. The right, the Trump administration, the populists, they're only doing what they believe you have already done. You paved the path for this. You can scream constitutional crisis all you want, but you made it if it is one, but it's not really one.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still slow out of Lithonia. We've had a crash working I-20 westbound just past Panola Road, exit 71, blocking at least one lane. So that's why you're seeing the brake lights from the mall at Stonecrest. Jammed up through Kennesaw, right lane construction, 75 south past Chastain Road, exit 271, slowing before Wade Green Road. You can use Highway 41. Might save you a little bit of time between Ackworth and Kennesaw to get around that construction zone. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Head to your local Whole Foods Market for September stock up. Save on meal solutions for busy schedules, including fresh produce, pantry staples, and household essentials, now through September 6th. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
All the notifications you need.
The story developing in Marietta.
All the local and breaking news alerts you need.
We're following breaking news in Atlanta.
All in one place.
The 95.5 WSB app.
Download it today.
Hi, I'm Becca, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As an in-house designer, I can't wait for you to see our incredible selection of stylish and stackable rings. If you're shopping for your wedding bands, we have high-quality designs for every style and budget, from romantic to modern. If you're looking to add to a stack, your options are endless. Discover styles with clusters of gemstones, sleek all-metal designs, updated cigar bands, and signet rings perfect for an engraving. Because a friend knows you like options. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
You know the saying, age before beauty? Well, many Atlanta homes built in the 80s and 90s are really showing their age and not so much beauty. Roofs are leaking, windows are drafty, paint is peeling everywhere, and that front door, well, might as well say Y2K, here we come. So many projects, and that means hiring a bunch of contractors, right? Wrong. Hi, this is Candace from Exovations, and have I got a tip for you. When you bundle several projects with Exovations, you can save time, money, and coordinate everything all at once for a truly stress-free experience. From the roof shingle at the top to the last drop of paint on the bottom, Exovations does it all. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, decks, gutters, and more. And with Exovations, you know we'll do your project on time, on budget, and without all that stress you usually hear about in construction. Schedule your free consultation today at exovations.com and bring your home into this millennium.
It's happening, guys. Your hair's thinning, the crown's disappearing. Hair loss might have you feeling you've lost your identity. It's Mark Aram here. Thankfully, there's Advanced Hair Simple One-Day Treatment. You decide how much, how thick, and where. It's your own natural hair that begins regrowing the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. I've seen Advanced Hair's incredible results with my own eyes. Get your free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts. Call 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You've thought about assisted living for your parents, but maybe the right answer is renovating your home and having mom or dad move in. I'm Richard, Chief Architect at Sketch House, where we create custom architectural drawings for homeowners looking to remodel. Why get drawings first? You'll know what's possible. You'll be able to get pricing and compare builders apples to apples, and builders love drawings. You'll get bumped to the top of their list with drawings in hand. Let Sketch House help you make a decision about your aging parents at a fixed price. Visit sketchhouse.com. That's sketch, HAUS.com.
Save money by getting pre-approved for your next auto loan at Coosa Valley Credit Union. We offer the most competitive interest rates in the market, as low as 3.49 APR when you open an account with direct deposit. This is Andy Harris, President of Coosa Valley Credit Union, inviting you to stop in a branch near you. You'll experience kinder banking with real people, not automation. Plus, with 11 locations in Northwest Georgia, we're always local and nearby.
Contact 706-235-8551 for more details. Equal Opportunity Lender.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. You know, so we should go back to the Lisa Cook situation here real quick. My position on Lisa Cook was that we needed more than just an allegation to fire Lisa Cook, because if it was just the allegation could be dragged up that she committed mortgage fraud. If it was just the allegation, well, the left has done this with people like Clarence Thomas, Sam Alito, Amy Coney Barrett. You could see a Democrat getting into the White House, coming up with wild allegations against Republican appointees to the Federal Reserve and saying, it's an allegation, they got to go. Look at Lisa Cook. And I said, we got to have something more than an allegation. Well, we have that something more now. We have multiple media outlets have, in fact, confirmed that Lisa Cook did file primary residence mortgage applications in 2 locations within 2 weeks. You don't need a formal hearing. You don't even need a guilt. That's not the way the hiring process works. So here's where the left is now moving, that Lisa Cook can only be fired for cause, and that cause means on the job at the Federal Reserve. They are so desperate for Donald Trump not to be able to fill her seat that they're willing to have a discredited member on the Federal Reserve. Whatever happened to people being above reproach? That's the standard they set for Clarence Thomas. The left did. The left set that standard for Clarence Thomas, that even though there's no allegation that he was ever persuaded to side with his friend before the Supreme Court, who in fact had no cases before the Supreme Court, that it's the appearance of impropriety that mattered. It's the appearance of mortgage fraud that should matter with Lisa Cook. Whether the left likes it or not, she should go. The fact of the matter is, Joe Biden wanted to put diversity ahead of competence, so he put her on the Federal Reserve Board. And they could have realized, oh, this mortgage fraud thing is something. But here's the thing that really blows my mind. The members of the press who were saying, look, I mean, we got members of, what is it, Bill Pult or whatever, possibly did the same thing. Well, then prosecute them. The number of members of the press say, well, we can't prosecute all the people who do this sort of stuff. No, I think you can and probably should. I haven't done it. You haven't done it. Why should these rich people with multiple houses get away with it? Now, while all this happened, I mentioned the price of gold. You've seen it skyrocket. Swiss America wants to help you protect your hard-earned money and assets, and all you got to do is go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric today and get their Secret War on Cash report. It's completely free. You can also call or text my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646. The All-Out War on Cash includes digital forms of currency, and it's spreading, so get the Secret War on Cash report completely free. You just mentioned Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646, or go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric. SwissAmerica.com/ERICK. Swiss America can educate you about the Secret War on Cash. The report is completely free. SwissAmerica.com/Eric or 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply. When we come back, Gallup has a new survey out that people's faith in capitalism is collapsing, and actually about a third of the country now fully on board socialism. There are some relevant data points out there. I really want to talk about this issue. I got some strongly held opinions on this when we come back.
When traffic hits.
I-75 completely shut down north and south between McDonough and Locust Grove.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
Brake lights fill in on 316 westbound at Sugarloaf Parkway.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
Heavy police fire department activity.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Whether it's a slip that ends in a slip disc, a trick knee that's holding you back, or shoulder pain hurting your game, you can count on Northside Hospital Orthopedics. With leading care in Georgia at convenient locations all across the state, we're here to get you back on your feet, no matter what comes your way. Because Georgia moves us, and we keep Georgia moving. Find a provider near you at northside.com/ortho. That's northside.com/ORTHO.
The Scott Antique Markets is back at the Atlanta Expo Center, featuring hundreds of vendors with collectibles and merchandise from all over the world. We're on both sides of I-285 exit 55 on Jonesboro Road. Visit ScottAntiqueMarket.com for more information.
If critters are creeping in your attic, better call Breda to kick those critters out. With the Breda Wildlife Guarantee, if they return, you're covered at no additional cost.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. New developments today in a more than 4 decades old cold case in Cobb County. Using DNA technology, Cobb police identify a woman found dead in May of 1984. 61-year-old Veronica Jane Miller of Mableton would have been around 20 years old at the time of her death. Her body was discovered in the woods near the Chattahoochee River in southwestern Cobb County. Police say her death is ruled a homicide and the case remains under active investigation. It is 79 degrees in Atlanta, staying comfortable to start the week. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. New information on Friday's shooting at a business on Memorial Drive. DeKalb police today determined there's a connection to drugs.
DeKalb County police found evidence that the business was being used for narcotic sales and it was targeted for drug-related reasons.
Blaine Clark with DeKalb County Police says they've arrested 4 people who were not injured in the shooting. They're facing drug and weapons charges. Police are continuing to search for suspects in the shooting. A fight breaks out at a Cobb County Waffle House. Police say patrons began fighting staff at the restaurant on Sandy Plains Road. Witnesses say a group of teens had been asked to leave several times but refused. The situation escalated when the teenagers began arguing with staff, knocking plates off the counter and jumping over into the kitchen. Despite rumors circulating on social media, there's nothing to indicate the suspects are current or former Sprayberry High School students. This is all new at 2 o'clock and a WSB scam alert. The city of Alpharetta warning residents, businesses, and developers about a scam targeting public hearing applicants. The scammers sent emails which appear to come from the city, including fake invoices requesting payment for permits or services. The emails may use official-looking logos, staff names, and project details pulled from public records. Other local governments in the area are seeing similar scams. A big announcement from Apple is coming this week.
Apple is taking the wraps off the new line of iPhones during its big event tomorrow. The highlight is expected to be the iPhone 17 Air, a thinner and lighter model of the iconic device. Apple is also bringing the popular light blue color from the M4 MacBook Air to the iPhone 17 Air and adding a new orange color to the Pro line. But Bloomberg tech writer Mark Gurman says the new ultra-thin iPhone 17 probably won't be the top choice for many iPhone users because it comes with a shorter battery life and a simpler camera. I'm Bloomberg's Erica Herskowitz for 95.5 WSB.
It's now 2:02. This news sponsored by Brett Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
Starting a business takes grit and fortitude, but to keep it going requires taking care of customers like family. That's our motto, and my family's been sticking to it for decades. Hi, this is Daniel Jape, and you can count on Jape Services to provide quality care and price transparency for your home's heating, cooling, and plumbing needs. At Jape Services, we're a family-run business, and I personally guarantee to treat you like family as well. JapeServices.com.
Jape Services. At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
At Kroger Pharmacy, we make it easy to get flu, COVID, and RSV vaccines. They're available at no cost to you with most insurance plans, no appointment needed. And we're open weekdays, weeknights, and weekends, so come and visit us when it's most convenient for you. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Vaccines subject to availability. No cost to you with most insurance plans. Check with your plan for eligibility. Restrictions and exclusions may apply. See site for details.
It is 2:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather in the 24-hour traffic center. It's Alex Williams.
Hey, good afternoon, Bill. Just found new trouble in Gwinnett County, second left lane blocked, 85 southbound before Beaver Ruin Road, exit 102. You're slow from Highway 316. And we've got trouble I-20 eastbound past Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, exit 53. That blocks the center lane, causing delays there through West Atlanta. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. A mix of sun and clouds today. Breezy, high 81. The northeast wind gusting 20 miles per hour. Lows tonight in the upper 50s, low 60s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 83. Warming up on Wednesday with sunshine, high 84.
And in fact, no rain in the forecast through next week. The low 90s could be back for Friday and Saturday. Right now, it is comfortable. It's 76 in Duluth, 77 in Douglasville, and 76 in Fayetteville. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is band. B-A-N-D. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBradio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is band. B-A-N-D. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5 p.m.
Howdy, welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the nation, broadcasting to you from, well, my broadcast office in Middle Georgia. I'm going to be doing an event with Scott Jennings tonight here in Macon, Georgia, where I live, and I was in New York last week. I'm going to be up. Those of you in Ohio listening, I'm going to be up with you next week. I'm going to do an event in Columbus, Ohio, next Friday night. Going to broadcast from my affiliate WHIO in Dayton, Ohio, next Friday. A lot of road stuff. Those of you down in South Florida, by the way, planning a trip down there, as soon as I get details, I will let you know. But hoping to get down there in the wintertime. I can go to South Florida and be warm. I want to talk to you about this Gallup polling on socialism and capitalism. And I want to step back first and talk about populism. There are some Trump supporters these days who insist I'm no longer conservative because I don't support Donald Trump, and I reply to each of them as kindly as I can. He does not call himself a conservative these days. He says he's a populist, and he is. And he is very smart at it. One of the most famous populist politicians in the United States was Huey P. Long of Louisiana, where I am from. One of the great modern populists was a guy named Zell Miller. Zell Miller was a Democrat governor in Georgia who started the lottery in the state of Georgia to help get kids to college. And it was widely assailed by Baptists in the state and a lot of Christians, and it passed, and it has been a very popular program to get kids into colleges. My daughter is a recipient of a Zell Miller scholarship, and it helps pay for her private school tuition. Really would have helped if she went to public school, but she didn't want to, and that's okay. She went to my alma mater. Populists tend to be galvanized, and populist movements are galvanized to the popular appeal of particular politicians. I don't mean to put many P's in there. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Populist movements are galvanized by the popular appeal of particular politicians. And when those politicians go away, the populist movements tend to collapse. Zell Miller had one Democrat governor after him, Roy Barnes, who, by the way, very decent human being. We may disagree on a lot of politics, but he's a fine guy. But Roy Barnes was the last Democratic governor in Georgia. And he collapsed with a popular appeal by a Democrat turned Republican named Sonny Perdue, who went on to be the Secretary of Agriculture for Donald Trump in his first term and now presides over the Board of Regents for the state of Georgia. Zell Miller found a bunch of 80-20 issues that connected people across political demographics. Republicans liked him, Democrats liked him. He tacked a ship of state towards the 80-20 issue, very much the way Donald Trump is doing. There are uniquely charismatic politicians who could do this. Ronald Reagan in the 1980s said he was essentially running a populist movement, but it was grounded in conservative convictions. Some politicians, like Zell Miller, was an old-school Democrat, a Southern Democrat, and he grounded his populism in Democratic politics. Ronald Reagan was a populist politician who grounded his in conservative politics. Donald Trump really doesn't have an ideological rudder, and those around him will acknowledge it, and the president himself has suggested as much. That's not an insult to him. It's just honestly capturing him. Donald Trump is happy to pick and choose from the ideologies of the day. That's why, for example, he's embracing 1950-style economic agendas from the left when it comes to tariffs and pro-unionization, things like that. He's capturing 1980-style Reagan social convictions and social conservatism from the right, and he's built this amalgamated populism. And here's the thing that those of you who consider yourselves fiscally conservative and socially liberal need to understand. You represent 5% of the population. If you say you're socially progressive but you're fiscally conservative, 5% of the population. Kristen Soltis Anderson, a very noted pollster, she's great. She's been on the program a couple times. She and Patrick Ruffini run Echelon Insights. She says she's often hired now to do these briefings with these well-heeled CEOs of companies and explain what's going on in the landscape. And she asked them, how many of you would consider yourselves socially liberal, fiscally conservative? They raised their hand, and she says, you got to understand, you're 5% of the population. Guys like me who are socially conservative and fiscally conservative, we represent maybe 20, 25% of the population. The reality is Donald Trump is in the sweet spot. Donald Trump is a fiscal liberal and a social conservative, and that's where most people are. The problem for Donald Trump is that by being a populist with no core ideology undergirding him, when he goes away, MAGA collapses. And you can deny it all you want, but you know deep down it's going to be divided. And a lot of it's going to go to J.D. Vance. Some of it will go elsewhere. And after Vance, win or lose, it begins to redefine itself and to split into pieces. And the question will be, will a popular movement within the Republican Party come along that can hold together the coalition that becomes divided among a bunch of different people? My suspicion is yes, because the Republican Party, the conservative movement, despite the way people talk about it, is not the same thing. I am a Christian first. I am a conservative. I don't know what the hell the Republican Party stands for anymore other than what Donald Trump says. I was once an elected Republican. I never understood the Republican position on trash collection other than pick it up and maybe privatize it. It was more a conservative position than a Republican position. I put God first, my family second, the country third, my convictions after that. I'm an American. I'm proudly an American. I think we are the greatest country on the planet, not because I'm an American, but because I've been to most of the other ones, and we're better than all of them. One of the things that sets this country apart is the free market, but both parties have done a very bad job of stewarding the free market. Both parties have decided to pick winners and losers. It's one of my concerns with the tariffs. Americans' positive image of capitalism, according to Gallup, has eroded over the past decade. Just 54%, I'm reading from Bloomberg, just 54% of U.S. adults view capitalism positively, down from 60% in 2021 and the lowest since Gallup began asking the question in 2010. While overall support for socialism remains mostly stable at 39%, the partisan divide has grown, especially among Democrats. 2/3 of Democrats view socialism favorably. Gallup analyst Jeff Jones says Donald Trump's first election in 2016 was an inflection point. I think it's Trump and Bernie Sanders and maybe populism more generally. Certainly in the Democratic Party, some of the socialist ideas have become almost mainstream. Generational change is a key driver. Those who came of age after the Cold War never absorbed the same negative messaging about socialism as older Americans. Among Republicans, younger voters remain skeptical, but they're not nearly as negative towards it as older Republicans. Trump campaigned against socialism in 2024, declaring America will never be a socialist country. But also now you've got the government taking shares in U.S. Steel. You got the government taking shares in Intel. You got NVIDIA and AMD paying the government a portion of profits. I mean, we're embracing socialism on the Republican Party side of things, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, or fascism. I mean, fascism is corporations and the government cooperating together to control the interests of the economy. That's kind of what Mussolini did, but you're not allowed to say it because it's radioactive when you say it. But, I mean, when we're buying shares in Intel and forcing NVIDIA and AMD to pay the government, it's kind of hard to make the case for capitalism from the right. But you know who the worst enemies of capitalism are these days? The capitalists. Here's the thing. Profit is not bad. I had a woman the other day come after me on social media and said the problem with Big Pharma is that it's a for-profit entity. You're darn right it's a for-profit entity. It wouldn't be very good if it was a non-profit entity. You can say otherwise. But here's the reality, and to say it, I'll quote Adam Smith in The Wealth of Nations. It is not for the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, but for their regard for their own interest. Same with drugs. It is not for the benevolence of the pharmaceutical companies that we expect our drugs. It's for their regard to their own interests. Profit is good. I have a friend of mine who's gotten very wealthy, and he's always been on the right. His family's wealthy. His dad is a well-known name on Wall Street, and he's decided that profit is bad. It's like, so what you're telling me, man, is that you now have made a lot of money, and you think profit's bad now that me and my kids are on the verge of making money. Suddenly now you should protect me from myself by telling me profit is bad. No, profit is very good. Greed is actually good. Greed propels the world, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. Greed's not necessarily a bad thing. Here's the problem, though. Take private equity as an example. Here's the way capitalism is supposed to work. I provide a good or a service. You wish to buy that good or that service from me. We negotiate in an arm's length transaction. And the byproduct of the good or service and transaction is what? Money. You need the good or service, you have money. I want the money, you need the good or service, we trade. Money is the byproduct of the good or service. The problem is that more and more hedge funds, private equity, and the like, money is the product. They buy and sell companies for the money, the debt, because it's a financial transaction. It's not to make stuff. And this is where it breaks down, and this is where the capitalist system seeds distrust. When you can buy, for example, the Instapot maker and then load it up with debt so that you and your shareholders get wealthy and the rest of us lose a great product, or the product is devalued, degraded, and manufactured stuff, that's people look at that and they're like, this sucks. That's bad greed. You're leveraging it so you and a handful of people can make money. You are in this to make money, not to make a good or service that then provides money. And it's real hard for people to look at that and think it's good. And I'm sorry, like, I'm speaking out of turn here a little bit, but you know, the KitchenAid kitchen mixer is the gold standard for kitchen mixers. And I don't know what happened, but all I can tell you is that at some point in the last couple of years, the quality of the product has degraded. And I don't know, but I hear that some of the parts that used to be metal are now plastic. It makes it cheaper, and you get your KitchenAid mixer now, and it's not as good. And in fact, America's Test Kitchen, Cooks Illustrated, which is a great magazine, America's Test Kitchen, for the first time in forever, is suggesting a different mixer, an Ankerstrom, which I have, made in Sweden, as their preferred mixer, because you can't use the KitchenAid mixer now on high speed without burning up the motor. You get a cheaper product that lasts as long. People look at this stuff, they're like, how is this benefiting me? And so people start to think maybe socialism is better. The capitalists who are cutting corners to make more money as opposed to make a better product and you make more money, They've taken the morality of capitalism out of the equation. So this is not an ad for Hillsdale College, but they do have a class on capitalism. But they talk about the morality woven into capitalism, the fair, free trade between people. But when you get the billionaires, they believe they can start taking advantage of others, and they can cut corners to maximize their money at your expense. And it's no longer a free market exchange. It's no longer an arm's length transaction. But where do the billionaires come from in that regard? To some degree, they've had genius ideas, and they've worked to their advantage. But oftentimes, what do? They leverage the system against their competitors and against you and me. So Apple has a blood oxygen sensor on its Apple Watch. There's a company that holds the patent to the blood oxygen sensor. And as I understand it, don't hold me to it, but as I understand it, this company didn't actually invent the patent, but they now own the patent, and they've been able to deprive Apple of being able to have the blood oxygen sensor on their watch. I, because of the lung damage I've had from blood clots, need the blood oxygen sensor. And so I have an unupdated Apple Watch because the blood oxygen sensor was pre-patent litigation, and it works. And now the new ones don't work. You've got to use your phone. You can't just do it on your watch. Patent trolls, I think, undermine the integrity of the system. They didn't invent the patent. They just happen to buy it, and now they wield it as a weapon against others. The private equity companies, that they want the money. They didn't invent the product. They bought the company. Now they're breaking apart the company to get as much money out of it as possible. They're undermining their own system, driving up support for socialism in the country. The capitalists of today, using the system against everyone else, using lawyers, lobbyists, and a complicated tax code and a patent system to shut everyone else out of competition, have themselves degraded capitalism. And then the government comes in and picks winners and losers and degrades it further. We are destroying as a society the thing that made our society, because greed is good. Greed is good. Profit is good. But the desire to leverage the government and the law against the competition to stop their greed and their profit is bad. And we got to get back to that, stop the government and using regulations to help winners and hurt losers, because otherwise we're going to get socialism, and that's going to be bad for all of us.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
222 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Crash still working in Gwinnett County, 85 southbound before Beaver Ruin Road, exit 102. It is in the HOT lane. That's causing those delays. Back from 316. And a crash, I-20 eastbound in West Atlanta, Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, exit 53. Was in the second right lane. They've gotten that off to the right shoulder. All lanes back open. Traffic brought to you by Active Pest Control. Enjoy a pest-free home with Active Pest Control's pest-free 365 service. For your free, no-obligation quote, call or visit ActivePestControl.com today. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is band. B-A-N-D. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is band. B-A-N-D. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5 p.m.
You don't want to play games when it comes to your roof. That's why you should call Finley Roofing, the experts who believe manners matter and who will treat your home like their own. So you'll be sure you get your roof done right. Learn more at finleyroofing.com.
This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union, inviting you to come see us for your auto loan needs. If you're buying a car or refinancing your current auto loan, at Coosa Valley Credit Union, you'll get one of the lowest interest rates in the market, as low as 3.49 APR when you open an account with a direct deposit. Coosa Valley Credit Union is local and nearby in Northwest Georgia. Plus, you'll always speak to a real person when dealing with us. That's what we call kinder banking.
Contact 706-235-8551 for more details. Equal opportunity lender.
You've probably heard that constipation and IBS can all be related to a lack of fiber in your diet. Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you or someone you know suffers from constipation or IBS, let the Breadbeckers show you the way to more fiber and regularity and to better health without swallowing a pill or a bad-tasting drink. At the Breadbecker store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber from real whole grains. A healthy, affordable, and delicious solution for your family that can change your life. This is not like the enriched bread you buy at the grocery store. It's real bread. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Breadbeckers store in Woodstock.
Y'all, it's Eric. Windows 10 is sunsetting. End of support on October 14th of this year. It's also my anniversary. No end of support for my marriage, just end of support for your computer if you're on Windows 10. You got to update. Now, what does that mean, end of support? It means Microsoft is going to stop issuing security patches for your computer if you're on Windows 10. So you actually do need to update for your own good and safety, and Vision Computers can help you transfer to Windows 11. How do you do it? You call them at 404-COMPUTE and say, Eric sent you, I need some help. They can get you upgraded to Windows 11. It is for your own good and safety and that of your company that you move to Windows 11 because of the security updates, if nothing else. So call Vision Computer at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. Tell them Eric sent you. You might be able to save some money. You got to get it done before October 14th because you're not going to get security patches from Microsoft after that for Windows 10. Let Vision Computer take care of you. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com.
Having trouble getting in to see the doctor? Wait no longer. All Care is here. All Care is expert immediate care and primary care under a single roof, offering convenience and continuity for your healthcare needs at 15 Atlanta area locations. And best of all, we are fully staffed and ready for you when you need us. Same-day appointments are available and walk-ins are welcomed. Or schedule an appointment at allcare-ga.com. Say goodbye to waiting to see the doctor and say hello to All Care, a proud member of the Piedmont Integrated Network Clinic.
The Scott Antique Markets is back at the Atlanta Expo Center, featuring hundreds of vendors with collectibles and merchandise from all over the world. We're on both sides of I-285 exit 55 on Jonesboro Road. Visit scottantiquemarket.com for more information.
A word of caution for motorcycle riders. Remember, 18-wheelers have bigger blind spots and it takes them longer to stop than a smaller vehicle. Eric Von Hassler here to remind you that if an 18-wheeler forces you to lay your bike down, you need to call in Steel Horse Law. Attorney George Stein is a motorcycle rider and he understands bikers' needs. Get more info and request a free Rider's Advantage card at steelhorselaw.com.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All right, those of you on the phones, be patient with me because I ran long in the last segment. So I'm going to get yelled at by Charlie for going long, but that means that if I were to take your call, you'd have about 30 seconds. So I want to take your calls when we come back. But also, I've gotten asked a lot of questions about the raid on the Hyundai facility in South Georgia. It made national news. It was in the Wall Street Journal. And I said last week that it was a bad look given the negotiations with South Korea. And a lot of people took that to mean I was saying we shouldn't arrest the illegal immigrants. No, I'm just saying that in the middle of negotiating with South Korea's president this trade deal, rounding up and arresting a bunch of the South Koreans while going through the negotiations probably wasn't a good look. But I don't care about the illegal aliens getting rounded up. In fact, Charlie took off last week, went to the beach, and said they were driving past as the raid was happening. There were ICE agents all over. This place runs along the interstate, and there were people in handcuffs all over the place. The problem is twofold. How did that many South Korean illegal immigrants get into this country? Why were they allowed there in the first place? And the H-1B visa abuses that no one seems to want to talk about, but we all know are happening. We'll get into it when we come back. First, I got to tell you about Vision Computers. I talked to a guy the other day who attested to the fact that he has moved his managed IT division and that it actually has kept him up longer. His employees have loved having someone to talk to. So with a managed IT system, that is, you don't have an IT guy in staff because you can't afford the $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 salary. So you use a company, and when your employees have a problem, typically they email a ticket or they do some sort of web chat or AI chat With Vision computers, you don't do that. You actually pick up the phone and you call a phone number. And in 15 seconds or less, someone answers and you talk to them and say, I have a problem. Why? Because oftentimes you don't know enough to even be able to explain in your IT ticket what's going on. But you talk to someone, they can help you. So you have better uptime. Your employees have a sigh of relief that it's that easy for them to be able to get someone on the phone to help them. They're actually talking to a live human being. And Vision might be able to save you some money. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. Any one of you nationwide can take advantage of this. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Call them today.
Everyone has an opinion.
We have become an idiotic nation that doesn't know how to even debate anything, so it doesn't surprise
Eric
me.
Von Hessler has an opinion.
You will still age.
And some advice.
Start doing things when you're younger. Drink a lot of water.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
And you will still die.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. Convicted Metro Atlanta spa shooter Robert Aaron Long is back in a courtroom today. There's a motions hearing in Fulton County Superior Court in his death penalty case. Long's already serving life for the murders of 4 people at a Cherokee County spa. Defense attorneys want evidence from that case kept out of the Fulton County trial, where prosecutors are also treating the murders of 4 additional victims as a hate crime. The hearing could take days. A woman killed more than 4 decades ago in Cobb County is identified using DNA technology. 61-year-old Veronica Jane Miller of Mableton would have been around 20 years old at the time of her death. Cobb police say her body was discovered in the woods near the Chattahoochee River in southwestern Cobb County. The case is ruled a homicide and remains under active investigation. An encouraging sign for the 12-year-old girl fighting for her life after she was struck by a falling tree in Paulding County at a festival over the weekend. The girl's family says she is now breathing on her own. Captain Steve Mapes with the Paulding County Sheriff's Department says the girl is lucky to be alive.
She does have some serious injuries, but we hope that she'll make a full recovery.
12-year-old Claudia Bacon is suffering from a fractured skull, bruised lung, and broken rib. 6 people are dead after a shooting at a bus stop in Jerusalem. Israeli police say 2 Palestinian gunmen opened fire in what they describe as a terrorist attack. Video from the scene shows people fleeing the area as gunshots are heard. Israel's president calls the gunmen vile and evil terrorists. It is now 2:32. This news sponsored by FGA Roofing.
When markets get rocky, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Hi, I'm David Nicholas, president and founder of Nicholas Wealth Management. Times like these demand action and a plan you can trust. That's why we rely on our trademark Retire Ready Bucket strategy. This strategy is designed to place a percentage of your portfolio into lower risk, income producing income bucket, aiming to generate steady cash flow for the first 10 to 15 years of retirement. Meanwhile, your growth bucket is filled with dividend and growth stocks, which has time to recover when markets are going crazy. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com to schedule a time to sit down with our team to review your plan. This strategy was crafted by experience. It's battle tested, and it's how you aim to keep your retirement on track even when the markets are not. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. At Nicholas Wealth Management, we're prepared. Are you? Don't wait for the next headline to shake your confidence. Call Nicholas Wealth today, 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. Nicholas Wealth Management. Retire ready.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Neither the information nor any opinion expressed is to be construed as solicitation to buy or sell a security or personalized investment, tax, or legal advice.
Attention men, does ED and PE have you down? Well, great news. Choice Men's Health has the latest breakthrough treatments that can get you up and running. Meet the specialist who is dedicated to helping you perform better than ever in the bedroom.
Hi, I'm Dr. Katz, Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Our custom treatment plans have a 98% success rate at improving ED and PE on your very first visit, even if Viagra and Cialis have failed. Regardless of your age and medical history, we are here and dedicated to help you regain your love life.
Don't wait. Call Choice Men's Health now. We are so confident we can help. For a limited time, we're offering to cover your first treatment for free. Call 404-400-1170. Call now to claim your free treatment. 404-400-1170. Results guaranteed on your first visit or it's free. 404-400-1170. Choice Men's Health, the only choice for your health.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Not fun. 85 southbound leaving Highway 316, all due to this crash before Beaver Ruin Road, exit 102. It's in the HOT lane. It's got you stacked up, though, through Duluth. Hang in there, though. Stay in those right lanes. Once you get south of the Steve Reynolds Bridge, those delays will start to improve. Also, a rough ride on 75 southbound between Ackworth and Kennesaw with that right lane construction at Chastain Road, exit 271. And still seeing the brake lights in DeKalb, 20 westbound from the mall at Stonecrest, where there's been a crash in and out of the right lane past Panola Road, exit number 71. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Sunny and breezy, comfortable temperatures through midweek. Right now, it is 78 in East Point, 75 in Lawrenceville, and 77 in Cartersville. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Howdy, welcome. It's Eric Erickson here, 877-973-7425. Let me go to the phones. David in Jacksonville, Florida. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. I think you hit upon something about the Lisa Cook situation I think Jerome Powell should have taken care of. You know, she filled out 3 separate Fannie Mae forms, 1003, which is called the Universal Residential Loan Application. And on 2 places on that form, she had the opportunity to, in one place it says, is this, my primary source of residence? And you check that box or whatever. And then at the very bottom of the form, you signed that everything that you said is above and correct. So if they've got copies of those forms without any further adjudication, and you said that the appearance of conflict of interest is the same in the federal law as conflict of interest itself. But she's really above all that. And the fact that it appears that she's not, without any further legalities or adjudication, I think Jeremy Powell should at least say, you need to take a leave of absence or not seat her.
So,
go with that.
David, I'm glad you said that. So a couple of points here. First of all, so the left has used the appearance of impropriety standard, and if they would have used that for the Supreme Court, I think it applies to the Federal Reserve, and I do think that people are going to start losing faith in a system where you have people who appear to have engaged in mortgage fraud in charge of the banks, but she can only be fired for cause. Here's the thing on Jerome Powell. First of all, they wouldn't know. It was the Trump administration that could look at the mortgage records and see the problem. There's no way for the Federal Reserve to have known, but once it became clear, I have a suspicion she's the first black female on the Federal Reserve Board. You, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, you're already coming under fire from one side. You really want to take this on? I don't blame Powell one bit for letting the political process play out with the Trump administration on this. He'd get eaten alive by everybody. He's doing what he can to save himself, whether he deserves it or not. But I mean, if I were in his shoes, I'm just telling you, if I were in his shoes, I would go to her privately and suggest she's got a problem. But publicly push her out. One, he can't do it. The Federal Reserve chairman can't do it. So why take a bullet trying to do it when he doesn't even have the power to force her out? I totally get the point. I really do. And he should have gone to her privately and said, this is about the institution. But let's also be true. Lisa Cook, she's not going to go anywhere. She thinks she's done nothing wrong. She thinks everybody else is. I mean, this is literally the defense I've seen from reporters at Atlantic and elsewhere. It's like, everybody does this. Y'all, I'm sorry. I promise, cross my heart, hope to die, stick a needle in my eye. I promise I have never engaged in mortgage fraud, claiming multiple places my primary residence. I have one home. I do not have the money people think I have, and I'm just flabbergasted the people who have the money to be able to have 2 different houses claiming the primary residence for both of them. I do not live in that world. I don't live that life. I absolutely want to fly private. Can't afford to. Not there. But my gosh, having 2 separate houses, you take the mortgages out within 2 weeks of each other, and both of them are your primary residence? No, that doesn't make sense. And to the reporters who say, well, all these people close to Trump have done it. Oh, okay. So prosecute them too. Why are we making excuses saying everybody does it? Prosecute them. If everybody does it, prosecute them all, and people will stop doing it. That seems pretty clear to me. All right, Scott, you're going to be the last caller today. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
It's for Scott?
Yep.
Oh, hi, Eric. I enjoy your show.
Thank you.
One of the things about the capitalism and socialism, people call it capitalism, but the way I understand it, we're living really majority corporatism, which is a form of socialism, where you make the group into rights or meant for a real individual and not a fake corporate individual. And it sort of slants the playing field in favor of the corporation. We still have a small tier of, sole proprietors that do little businesses, but it's a really thin tier, a big, huge, fat corporate tier, which, as I understand it, the country was started.
So, Scott, I gotta. You're breaking up on me. I can't really understand what you're saying, but I get the general point is on corporatism versus capitalism. And you're absolutely right. I mean, we the government. I shouldn't say we. Our national government is picking winners and losers, and as corporations get big, they are deemed too big to fail, and they are protected. And so there's something embedded within the free market system. And by the way, I actually like free market. Capitalism is actually, Karl Marx, I think, came up with the term. I like the phrase free market. And we don't have a free market. We have the government increasing its control, and the Republicans are just as guilty as the Democrats. What we have in a free market is the idea of the creative destruction of the marketplace. The creative destruction of the marketplace means that when someone comes along and has a better idea, they can raise their better idea, cause the competitor to go bankrupt because their idea is better. And then people can pick apart the old guy who went bankrupt, and then a new guy can come along, and the guy who caused the old guy to go bankrupt, they can go out of business when somebody with a better idea comes along. Instead, what we have is a system that when companies get big, they're protected by the government, lobbyists, the patent and copyright system, and the rest of it. They protect the people who've already won. So you can't have new winners. I do think, to echo Gordon Gekko, I think greed is good. People wanting to make money over time come up with ideas they think can sell, but the genesis of all of it is they have an idea. Not an idea to make money. They have an idea for a product or service they think would work in the marketplace. And unfortunately, we litigate a lot of those people out of business, so they can't start up. So Anthropic has Perplexity. Anthropic is an AI company. And it just agreed to pay to authors over $1 billion for having trained its AI on copyrighted works without permission. It just decided on its own, you know what? $1 billion, that's what we're going to give you. Well, you know what? That sets a barrier to entry, not to the old guys, because OpenAI, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Google, they've got billions and billions of dollars. I mean, it's barely going to cost them anything to have to do what Anthropic has done. But if a new company comes along with a large language model that's been trained on copyrighted materials, well, its barrier to entry now is a minimum of like $1.1 billion to pay authors. The big guys with a lot of money are creating barriers to entry that the government allows, lawyers and litigation allow, and regulations allow, and that's not a free market. Don't want anarchy, but I do want the little guy to be able to come big. And we have a system now that is corporatist, that protects existing corporations and causes, through regulation and law, barriers to entry for new businesses, which is problematic. Now, I want to switch here at the end and talk about this Hyundai plant. I think it was a bad look yesterday, and I stand by my remark that it was badly misinterpreted by a lot of people who want to round up every legal immigrant and throw them out. I stand by my remark. It was a bad look to arrest all of these South Koreans at this plant just as we're negotiating a deal with South Korea shortly after the South Korean president has come to the country. That's not to defend the illegal aliens working there, though. 475 illegal immigrants. By the way, I would note that Fox News says illegal migrants. No, it's illegal immigrants. 475 during a major arrest at this facility. ICE was involved and others. This is a Hyundai LG Energy Solution battery plant down in Ellabelle, Georgia, 20 miles outside of Savannah. As I said earlier, Charlie and his family were driving past and saw it all happening. It's a massive facility. $4 to $7 billion facility, and a South Korean investment in the United States. What's striking to a lot of people, though, is it turns out that a large number of the people who were working at this plant were South Koreans. They were working construction. They're not working at the plant, they're working construction. South Koreans working construction at the South Korean plant, but they weren't immigrated over from South Korea legally, they were illegal. Someone in Congress needs to hold a hearing. How did they get into this country? They had to have been tracked. Were these gotaways that the Biden administration let come in? Did the South Koreans fly them into the country? Did they come across from Mexico? Where do these people come from? I would like to know. Where did all these illegals from South Korea come from? I don't know if you know this or not. Those of you in Rio Linda, it may surprise you to learn that South Korea is not connected by land to the United States. I know. You're thinking you learned about this passage from Siberia to Alaska. It's not frozen over now. It's water. The Bering Straits, you can't walk across it these days. So how did 300 people from South Korea get illegally into the United States and make their way to Georgia? If they went from South Korea to Alaska, maybe they could have walked and taken a little boat across the Bering Straits. They literally went not from just South Korea to the United States, but from South Korea to Savannah, Georgia, all the way on the other side of the United States from South Korea. If you're headed east or west, if you're headed east, if you're headed west, it's even further. How did this happen? And they weren't doing jobs Americans couldn't do. They were doing the construction jobs for which we've got plenty of illegal aliens to begin with. Lots of Mexicans to do it and some Americans as well. So how did we get the South Korea? I would like to know. And then on top of that, the H-1B visa situation, because some of the people who are working down there have H-1B visas, working on the construction. Why are they being prioritized over Americans? A buddy of mine, longtime friend, is a lawyer, and he was telling the story on social media last night about how he one time was asked to do a review of an H-1B visa application, and it was for a hairdresser. And he's like, they're not a unique specialty. They're like, but this is a South Korean woman coming over, and she's going to do South Korean women's hair. And South Korean women's hair needs a South Korean to do it. And that was the justification of the H-1B visa. And it actually was a salon where it was black women's hair being done. And apparently a South Korean woman is needed to do black women's hair in the United States. And the H-1B visa got approved. Y'all, I'm sorry, but none of that makes sense to me. And there are way too many stories of Americans who are forced to train their job replacements who are H-1B visa applicants, and then the Americans are fired. And the H-1B visa applicants are paid less. There is real abuse in the system. To the extent the Trump administration reviews it, audits it, fixes it, I think they should. We're seeing this all over the country now. Americans are losing jobs. And I mentioned when you're a white man in his 40s and 50s in this country, you're struggling now to get a job. You're struggling. If you're over 50 and you're a white man in this country, you've got a 25% chance of not just not getting a new job, but never working again. You got a 25% chance of never working again if you're over 50 in this country, particularly if you're a white man. And we have massive abuse of the H-1B visa situation in this country. The abuse comes up time and time again. I want to start, though, with the illegal aliens. This is a 3,000-acre site in southeast Georgia, 20 miles from Savannah, Georgia. It's a South Korean facility, and just by coincidence, hundreds of illegal aliens from South Korea were working there. Yeah, I think the timing is bad, and it's an embarrassment, and we're raiding this and arresting and putting in chains these South Koreans as we're dealing with a national major trade deal with South Korea. Yeah, the timing sucks. It's not good. It's a bad look. But the worst look are the illegal aliens. How did they get there? Where did they come from? How did they come into this country? There are a lot of unanswered questions that I would like to get answers to. Did South Korea fly illegal aliens from South Korea to Southeast Georgia to build their facility and in the process deny American construction workers jobs? Did they? I think that's a question that needs to be answered. I would like to find out how that many illegal aliens from South Korea made it from South Korea to South Georgia, and how they were able to get these jobs, and how they were able to bypass the labor checks to get these jobs. Because we've already got an H-1B visa problem. But it sounds like we've got an importation of illegal aliens problem, and that's outside even the H-1B visa situation, and that's a very big deal. I'd like to find the answers to the questions.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
250 Cool-Ray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center crash still working in this HOT lane, even though the tow trucks are there. 785 southbound before Beaver Ruin Road. Exit 102, slowing that ride as you leave Highway 316. Elsewhere, I-20 westbound into Cab, still slow from the mall at Stonecrest over to a crash, mostly out to the side before Wesley Chapel Road. Traffic is brought to you by YRefi.com. Is private student loan debt ruining your life? It doesn't have to. Just go to YRefi.com. That's YREFY.com. Get your life back. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It pays to have the WSB radio app. Download it today and get ready for the Blitz.
No way! The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000.
I just won $1,000 from WSB.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Your next chance to win is at 5
I'm
p.m.
so excited.
From 95.5 WSB.
Download the WSB radio app now.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. At least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the Portfolio X-Ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the Portfolio X-Ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. Mm-hmm. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it. You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well, and I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, call us.
The Portfolio X-Ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're a different kind of wireless company dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Because let's face it, our needs are different. Big wireless unlimited plans are designed for 20-somethings, not us. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on one thing, bringing you affordable, reliable rate plans that suit your needs, not ours. How do we do that? We start by using the same towers as the big guys, the exact same towers. We then create rate plans designed for your usage. The fact is, we can offer you an unlimited plan with the same network quality for less because we understand how you use wireless services. Our plans start at just $20 a month. And forget trying to chat with robots. You'll get 100% US-based award-winning customer service when you need help. Come find out how wireless should be and join the millions who've made the switch.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Text Eric to 33777 and get the 4 Things You Need to Know podcast. Eric tells you the 4 things to pay attention to after the show. Also available on YouTube and your favorite podcast app.
The president has begun Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago. It's a massive buildup of ICE agents. They're using Naval Base Great Lakes, which is north of Chicago, as a staging area for ICE agents to round up illegal immigrants in Chicago. Now, progressives have threatened war. So they literally, a lot of progressives have been threatening violence if the president decides to do anything in Chicago. Now, they were, however, talking about law enforcement here. President Trump is focusing on the deportation of illegal immigrants in Chicago, and Chicago residents are seeing they're not really seeing anything out of the ordinary right now. Maybe there will be more of a roundup, but it hasn't happened yet. The president gets to do this, and the Supreme Court decision earlier today about Los Angeles suggesting you can't stop the president from engaging in deportation efforts and ICE from deporting illegal immigrants and even doing stops to verify immigration status. Chicago's going to lose the fight if they try to fight this. And also, there are a lot of people in Chicago, given the crime in Chicago, who are not opposed to the president cracking down on this. So I've got more details I'll get into at the 4 Things to Know podcast. I started the show criticizing a lot of podcasts for dealing with live breaking news. They can't cover it. And here at the end, let me just tell you that I have started this 4 Things to Know podcast. There are 4 stories that have happened at the end of the show. Literally in the last 30 minutes, every single one of these stories has really come to fruition. I don't have time to talk about them, so I've started doing this podcast in the afternoon after the show is over, where the 4 big things you need to know before you get home. And if you want to subscribe to it, you can do so. Your favorite podcast app, 4 Things to Know this afternoon, or also just text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, and I'll send you links to the show podcast, to the 4 Things to Know this afternoon podcast, the live stream, the show notes, everything you need to stay on top of all of it and connect with the show. More than happy to have you do that. But there are some stories that have just hit, including the Operation Midway Blitz being announced by the president. I've got the details in the after show podcast. Right now, I got to tell you about Old Glory Bank because they'd love to be your bank. They're my bank. And right now, Old Glory Bank is giving away free homeschool curriculum. OldGloryBank.com/smart is the link to go to if you want to educate your kids on finances. If you want a bank that defends you and your freedom to bank, Old Glory Bank is your bank to use. They were started by conservatives, John Rich, Larry Elder, Ben Carson, and others. Mary Fallon, the former governor of Oklahoma, has been involved. They're one of the fastest growing banks in the country, and they are a pro-freedom bank. They are a bank by conservatives, for conservatives, and I use them. I have a checking account and a savings account with Old Glory Bank. They've got competitive interest rates. They do mortgages. They do car loans. They do CDs. You name it. OldGloryBank.com/Eric, E-R-I-C-K, is where you can go sign up and get a bank account with Old Glory Bank. OldGloryBank.com/Eric. They're great people. They're a fantastic bank. I noticed those of you out on Freedom 96.9 Oklahoma City. They're an advertiser on your station as well. Great people, great bank. They're my bank, OldGloryBank.com/Eric. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
more local news.
The employee at a Walmart in Covington is in custody. Atlanta companies already warning of turbulence in the economy.
More traffic.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
40 minutes to head up the connector.
More weather.
We may be seeing this tornado strengthening.
Atlanta's Morning News.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Newton County authorities crediting the Georgia State Patrol.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
I've had so many questions about the new Trump accounts for newborns.